chocolate.
Okay. Well, anyway, I went to the store to go because you got. Are we on? Okay. Semper Fi, her pup. Sorry.
We're talking chocolate.
We got chocolate to talk about. It's only me. It's only the Kiver. God bless America. Veterans Day, saluting all of the folks who served and the families who served with them, because veterans' wives are a special breed. Anyway, it's only me. It's only the Kimmer. Pete Davis, sidekick, producer, and sports raconteur extraordinaire. Holy crap at sports. I'm guessing a little later today.
Already did it.
Oh my God, man! Well, and a key tease topic of some kind.
I was so happy to survive my movie experience that I did my movie
review.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we'll get to the best podcast sportscast in America. Holy crap at sports with Pete Davis and the mechanical angler Flounder at the controls here at El Condo Flando. And Podcat, where's Podcat? Lucas, is he around? Oh, in fact, we have a story coming up here in just a moment. First of all, we were mentioning chocolate. As you know, I bring the boys little chocolates Nestle Crunch. And lately I found one of these things. It's a silver. I don't know what the hell it's a Nestle something, individually wrapped Nestle truffle. And so I'm running low. I only got a couple left, so I went to the store to try to find some. It's wrapped up individually. Anyway, we'll switch with Flounder. He doesn't
You're
care.
fingering my chocolate.
I'm not fingering anybody's chocolate. So I found these that are a different color, but they're also truffles. So I'm hoping it's okay with you.
These are dark chocolate. These are milk chocolate.
Well, that's all they had. They didn't have the silver ones anymore.
Chocolate.
I was hoping
I prefer the red.
In fact, okay, before we get any farther, because we have more food news here and also a Flounder thing, and it's Veterans Day. We've got a billion things, and you have a blue box in front of you.
Guess what this is?
I can't imagine. Venmo.
For our storefront. And we got,
I don't know what that means.
We got a lanyard.
Well, what do we do with it?
I have no idea what this does.
They sent us something?
They sent us this thing, which looks like it opens up mountain
It's a key fob.
fortresses.
Yeah, but for what?
But you don't need one that big.
For what?
Who needs something that big? No, it's a Garrett. It's a Garrett. Let me explain that.
I don't know what that is either.
Yeah, so people who work in offices and stuff like that, they have to have security badges.
Yeah, throw it here. I want to show them something.
Oh, yow.
Look
Good
at that.
catch.
Look at that.
In the dark.
It's a James Bond Garrett.
Oh, my God.
You put it around their neck and you strangle it.
So like
is that a killer James Bond?
I use one of those. So you put your key fob. That way, when you go to the door, you can just boom, and you don't have to worry about
like
putting
you're Pat the Super or whatever on the one day at a time. I don't want to look like that guy.
The problem with me is my the wallet I had when
Well, congratulations. What do we do with that? Is that
there's
a
stickers
thing,
we can put up, and it's a Venmo where people just scan it, and it goes right to your Venmo.
I'll be darned. Well, in fact,
can
I do a quick Venmo thing right here?
Sure.
I wasn't planning to do it here, but I'm going to now.
We'll put it right here.
Here it is right now. Let me back up a little bit, just very quickly. And by the way, again, we do have the new Venmo thing to help the Kimmer Show podcast continue on, so we don't have to start charging per listen. Let's see. Here we go from the very, very beginning. Ronald and Max sent us a thing. Brent sent us $1. Michael Grimaldi sent us something. Heather sent us money with giggles. Patrick said amazing podcast. Matthew Hangman sent $25, and Thurston paid us and said happy going. Paul loved the podcast. Ben sent something. He said my first cheeseburger this month. Denise sent us money, and then she sent us money again.
Thurston sent us money?
Yeah, Lana. Ben. No, I didn't. Did I say Thurston? I don't know. Lana.
Sending him money.
Bart, Anthony, Sherry, Todd, Denise again. And so thank you. And by the way, for the record, most people who send us, two of the people on this list send us $1. And we'll take it. I mean, we're not complaining. Most people say, $5, $10. I mean, there are some who have sent us some more. But anyway, don't feel bad. We asked for a cheeseburger a month. If you could do that, $3-4 a month, we'd love it. Anyway, thank you. Shall I do? Before I forget, let me do this message thing. My official elections babe, Lisa, Kimmer babe, Lisa. She was the one who said it doesn't matter which way the ballot scans of the when you put your ballot in. But she said also, we raised the question at our last podcast meeting, and she said, hey, Kimmer, yes, there will be early voting for the December 6th runoff. It could start as early as the week of November 21st, but because of Thanksgiving, it will probably just be the week of November 28th. Anyway, we don't know yet, but there will be early voting. Again, which is okay with me if you go in person. I'm a little nervous about the whole mail dropping bundle thing, but if you go in person and have a thing that goes in the thing, I'm okay with that.
I'm sure we'll bring it up later, but Carrie Lake, the update with her and how all those day of drop votes. Yeah, so looks like she's got a chance to win.
Again, the Democrat, her opponent refused to debate. She made no sense at all. She sounded like a child when they asked her, what does she know about the Hispanic community? Well, I have my sister-in-law has a nephew, a niece, who's a Hispanic, and I valued their community effort. I mean, it was just, she's a child.
We are the minority now. Common sense voters, we are like 30%. We are outnumbered in every state except maybe Florida right now.
And it's not
South Carolina.
It is not a question of bad candidates anymore. You can say, well, they could have picked another. That doesn't matter. Fetterman, please. There's
a great meme. Two little kids rolling down a country road with Big Bird from Sesame Street. Yeah. And the little girl looks up at Big Bird and she says, "Where are you going, Big Bird?" He says, "I'm going to Arizona to teach him how to effing count."
And I love the other meme, a great meme of Stakey, a big fat loser, the Kool-Aid monster Abraham, is the Fox News called Arizona for Stacey. Which somehow would make sense. Let's see. Message, okay, Lisa, cross that off there. Now, we have some really cool personal things to go about, and I shall start right now. First of all, it was a Marine Corps birthday yesterday, the anniversary of my heart attack. And I told this story this morning.
It was a 3-day heart attack event.
Well, it was an episode.
You only suffered for 1 day. The rest of us had to suffer with you moaning and groaning on the floor for 3 days.
Well, just again in brief, in fact, Jennifer was visiting. If I recall, it was a Marine Corps birthday. It was a Sunday. And I gave her my car. As I recall, I gave her my car to drive because she needed a car. So I gave her my car. I was going to get another one. And so I sent her off on her way to go to the interstate to drive my car, which is now hers, back to Pennsylvania. What's the matter? Am I bad?
No, keep talking.
Oh, okay. And so, people are pointing. I don't know what's going on here. And so she took off, and I got in my car, and I drove a couple of miles. This is in Alpharetta near the stable, and all of a sudden, I felt like hell. And I'll give a brief synopsis just to let you know, if you're suffering from a heart attack, you may never know it, because I never knew it. I started feeling really bad. And it was November 10th. It was, in the fall, and I thought, oh, God, I'm going to get the flu. I got flushed and kind of cold flop sweat and lightheaded, and I just felt sick and a little nauseous. Never felt anything in my chest at all, but I felt things in my neck, up here in my upper chest and up in my neck, in my shoulder neck area, like I was going to be sick, and I thought, oh, man, I feel terrible. And, in fact, I was so nervous about it, I never in a minute thought of heart attack. I was so nervous that I pulled over on the side of the road, and I said, well, I can't just sit in my car because if I pass out, no one will know. I just think the car's parked on the side of the road. So I actually got out of my car and stood there for a while to make sure I wasn't going to pass out, because if I did, they'd see me. Well, they'd see me flopping on the ground, so you'd be taken care of. Anyway, so I felt better after a few minutes. I drove home, still felt like crap all day, and that was a Sunday. And then Monday was Veterans Day, so I went to work. I had the radio station, and I remember I forgot this, where I mentioned this morning that I was feeling so bad during the commercial breaks that I had to lay down flat on my back on the floor because I just really felt terrible. And I kept saying, I felt terrible. And a couple of people said, it sounds like you had a heart attack, but they never, at the time, it didn't make any sense. And finally, my little friend Gretchen said, all right, you're going to the hospital. That was on Tuesday. So 3 days after, finally went to the hospital, they gave me a quick blood test. That's the first thing they do.
Yeah, first thing they do is
a quick blood test. And they knew in 5 minutes. The nurse, who, by the way, was a doll. Oh, she was freaking gorgeous. Anyway, she says, you just had a serious heart attack. And I said something very inappropriate. What? It wasn't what? But anyway, so again, I never felt it in my chest. I felt things in here and a cold flop sweat and felt terrible. So just a word of the wise.
You know what I just realized?
What?
That you could have died right there on the floor, we would have been talking, doing everything, and looking down. Well, it's time to get back. Get up, Kimmer.
Hello.
Get up, Kimmer.
How funny would that have been? And again, the other funny part of it was we had been back to work 5 days.
5 days.
5 days.
You should have seen the meeting we had when we were trying to decide what to do.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Contingency. While you were gone, if you didn't come back, it was like...
I can imagine. Can you imagine? The management must have gone, oh, my God, 5 days, and he collapses.
Ashen-faced. Ashen-faced.
Fine now. Feel better now, though. Try to stop me now. Anyway, so that's my heart attack story. Anyway, it was a Marine Corps birthday. And okay, I think that's all. Okay, now
Yes, sir.
we have received some gifts, and again we'll talk news. We have we'll talk a lot of politics, election, Trump, and DeSantis. Why is he doing this? A million things. Also, the closing of a very famous theater. I don't know if you saw that in the news.
Yep.
Holy crap! It's sports. We'll talk more about that sports stuff. Some gifts first to pass along with our great appreciation. This is an awesome. Military hat. It says "Home of the Free" because of the brave. All gave some gave all, and it has my name on it in the American flag, and it's from our friend Judy in the Pacific Northwest. Huh. And it's a Marine Corps cover, and again, it just a little since it's Veterans Day.
Pacific Northwest.
Washington State, and that's
Washington.
Sorry, Washington. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not Washington State University, but University of Washington. But I meant the state of Washington.
People just threw something at.
No. What I meant was he's talking about the state of Washington, not Washington. The Washington, the state. That's fine. Instead of Washington, not D.C. Anyway, nice jersey. Okay. So anyway, and in military lingo, in the Marines, I don't know about Army. In the Marines or Navy, in the Marines, it's a cover. It's not a hat. And the reason they call it a cover is because there are certain rules going along with the word cover. For example, in the Marine Corps, and I got in trouble for this once, in the Marine Corps, you are not allowed to salute an officer unless you are covered. So in other words, and covered means wearing a hat. If you are indoors, the only time a Marine can wear a cover indoors is if he's carrying a weapon. Security guards, MPs, stuff like that. So if you're not carrying a weapon, you have to remove your cover when you walk inside a building. On the other hand, if you're walking down a hallway in a building and an officer comes your way, like an Army officer comes your way, he's going to expect a salute. Or he could expect it, but you're not allowed to do it. And one time I got caught. I was on a training base before. Anyway, I went in the Marine when I was still a fairly young boot, and I sneaked off the base with some buddies, and we went into town and whatever. Anyway, so I got caught. I didn't sign out my ID thing, so I had to report to the Army lieutenant the next day. It was a joint operation thing, and so I showed up at his desk and braced myself and said, "Sir, Private First Class Peters." I guess it was a Lance Corporal at the time. "Lance Corporal Peters, party's order, sir." He said, "Where's your salute, Marine?" I said, "Sir, Marines," and I said, "We're not allowed to salute indoors." But I said, "I'll give you a salute. I don't give a shit one way or the other. I'll salute you, but we're not supposed to. Anyway, unless you're covered." So this is why we call it a cover. And
does the Army accept that excuse?
I don't know. I don't think they do. But I had. Well, no, I was going to make fun of it. I had an Army lieutenant, real young kid, Army lieutenant. And worked with him. He was scared to death of me for a while, but in a rather unfortunate situation. Okay, I'm done. Okay.
Sophia says I should get it ready.
Okay, and thank you, Judy. One more quick thing. Judy also sent us some food, and it looked delicious, like a chocolate fudgy brownie, spearing candy things. It would just look like brownie individual things.
Where is it?
Well, it was kind of destroyed in transit.
You ate it.
Well, no, I did.
You ate it.
No, I didn't. Believe me, I would not, because we're not done with the treat. So, and I'll prove to you why I would not have. Anyway, Judy, thank you so much, and I feel terrible that it didn't make it, but thank you anyway. I'm very, very grateful. Now, okay, Joe, check this out. I forgot about Flounder. Flounder, first of all, if you would come over here, sir, for your award.
A slap in the face.
We have for you, sir, a giant chunk of my latest meatloaf. Dinner. And I used the original recipe. I actually, when I made it, I usually use about 1.33 pounds of the ground chalk or whatever it is. I realized when I got this home, it was like 1.5 pounds. So I sort of guessed at adding some extra ingredients. But it tastes good to me, so I think you'll like it. Now, it has a lot of chopped up onions in it because I did chop them myself this time.
The Chef Kimmer segment of the show brought to you by Atlanta Custom Closets. ClosetPro.net. 404-255-0589 is the number to call. If you need a closet, need it refurbished, need advice on closets, Atlanta Custom Closets. ClosetPro.net. Give the wife or girlfriend a new closet for Christmas.
They love that. They really do. They really do. When Flounder comes, here's Flounder back now. All right, boys, I have a note here, and it says, "Hi, Kimmer. I hope this finds you all well. I'm enclosed some goodies for you and Pete and Flounder to enjoy, as well as my donation for your podcast. You'll bring laughter and joy to many, and myself included. Take the best of care. Please scratch Stretchy for me." And it's from Patricia in Canada.
Yeah.
And here is what she sent. Are you ready for this?
It got through customs?
This is from Canada. Ya-da-da. Good
Lord.
Look at this. Now I have to admit I took one of these. So you now this is it's called Merci Milk Chocolate. You have one of those. Flounder, you get one Merci Milk Chocolate because there's only two.
Merci.
Now we have and look at these.
Chocolate.
That feels kind of. Oh, yeah, I guess they're okay. I had them and I kept them in the refrigerator. Now, yeah, we have a choice here. Now, we have a dark chocolate with almonds and sea salt.
That'd be. Well,
you want that one? And Flounder, we also have a dark chocolate or a milk chocolate.
I'll do the milk chocolate.
okay, wait a minute. Wait.
With hazelnuts.
Sure.
What's the other one?
Dark chocolate. With the same as that one. Those two are the same.
Wait a minute.
Those two are the same. What are you looking for? Down below, little teeny print.
Sometimes the sea salt is great, and sometimes the sea salt
I'll
screws
take
it up.
Would
but
you
you know
rather
what?
have-
We'll split. You have one, I have one, and we'll see what we think.
Well, Flounder needs one.
I'm sure it's great.
I got so much chocolate, I don't know what to do.
Okay. Well, are you okay over there with that?
Well, that's fine.
All right.
If you like chocolate, try it.
Yeah, I love chocolate.
Do you like dark chocolate?
Yeah, I love them
then.
all.
Good.
Anyway, this from Patricia in Canada, and again, talk about great chocolate. Anyway,
Dark
I feel
chocolate.
stupid, but
This looks
thank you.
great.
It does look great.
I
And again, thank you so much. Now, we're not done. We have...
am. I'm leaving.
No, you can't. This is for you. All right, we'll wait till you come back. No, I have to wait till you come back. Yada-dee, yada-da. All right, here we go. Now, our friend Denise contacted me some time ago, and again, I owe her like 9 thank you cards, I think so. Anyway, our friend Denise contacted me and asked about a certain gift idea for you for Christmas.
Oh, good Lord.
And I said to her, absolutely, that's a great idea. And then I said, now the problem is when we don't want to wait till Christmas to do to see if get something. So because we have a weekend coming up, and this would be something you would love and be very thrilled with for the weekend. This is from our friend Denise for
Christmas?
you, a Christmas present.
Well, I'll wait for Christmas.
No. You have to open it and use it because you'll be glad. You can open it right now. In fact, you should open it right this minute. Open it. Read the card.
It's a microphone.
Yeah, there you are.
I think.
I think so. It's a snowshoe or something.
Oh, there
what
it
does
is.
it say?
It's got a little thing.
What's it say?
Aw, XXOO from your Christmas angel, Denise.
No, there you are. Now open it
I
up,
have to open
please.
it now. Okay.
Open it right now.
This is really nice.
It's
Wrapping.
just paper. Rip the all the ladies say, "Oh well, let's save the paper." Don't save the paper.
Save the paper.
A god woman.
Excellent. Popular Mechanics.
There you are.
I miss Popular Mechanics.
There, and we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago how we used to, and me too. We used to get Popular Mechanics as like a routine thing, along with National Geographic and
very interesting.
Post and Life magazine stuff like that. Now I did. I sent it to me to our address, so I get it. I get the copies first, and I did kind of just glance through it to see, and it's totally different from what I remember. It's not anywhere near the same format or publication or topics or any. I mean, it's all biggie, glossy, big time Charlie, but I'm not even sure I can really even relate to some of the topics. So you'll find it interesting because it looks like it's really way different than what it used to be. Modern, what's that?
How to make a professional potato gun.
There you go. See, well, they still have some of the classics then. That's good. Because they always used to have something weird, how to make a great slingshot, or something, It was always cool. Anyway, Denise, Merry Christmas to Pete from Denise.
Thank you, Denise.
Which is very, very, very
really
sweet.
is.
Yeah, it's just a wonderful thing to do. Let's see. Oh, God, we got so many things to start. Oh, Flounder, would you like to tell them about your nightmare experience? And again, because yeah, I'm still nervous about it too. All right, now again,
The show Wednesday wasn't that bad.
Thank you. No, that was fun. And again, people, we're talking.
Everybody's
about
talking about how good it was
on the radio, and we missed it. Was fun, and it's a shame that we'll never work again on the radio. It's a horrible experience that I can't get a job with the boys. I'm so sorry. Anyway, okay, storm overnight. And changing in weather, and it's the hurricane was going through, so it was turmoil and winds and stuff. So early this morning, Flounder.
No, so this was 2 nights ago. Wednesday night or Wednesday morning, I woke up, and normally Lucas, my cat, will kind of come up on my bed and start humming and stuff like that and wake me up. Oh. And I'd woken up about 15 minutes before my alarm clock, and he still hadn't come in my room, and I didn't think anything of it. And I was messing around on my phone, looking at Twitter. And then I got up and kind of walked out there to see him, and my back door was half open.
Uh-oh.
And so I was like, oh, shit. And so
he
I
was
looked around
gone.
my house first. I was like, Lucas, kind of not yelling his name, but kind of saying it loudly. Didn't want to, my neighbors and everything. And he had definitely gotten out. So I kind of, it was pitch dark.
It's like 2 o'clock in the morning or
Yeah,
something.
pitch dark. So I couldn't really go out there and yell his name without it waking up the neighbors and have them calling the cops. So I got dressed and I went back out 5 minutes later because I was going to climb over with a flashlight and kind of look. And over there where the parking lot is, I saw like little cat feet walking under a car. And so I was just like, Lucas. But the whole thing, but I did that and I was just like, because if I whistle, he'll kind of, it gets his attention.
Yeah.
And he came over and I got lucky because I didn't know if he was going to see me or not.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long the door was open because I always shut it, but it started getting windy the other night. It was really windy.
Yeah.
And I don't ever lock my door on the backside because
I took my flag in fact, during the afternoon because of what that was going through there. Yeah.
And so that's what I was like, oh shit. And I was like,
But you got him back.
yeah, I mean, I got lucky because I didn't know, again, 3 a.m, dark out in an apartment complex. That could have been game over.
And thank God, a coyote or a dog.
Yeah,
or a
especially around
raccoon
here
or
because you're
or
right. We're
another
right by the
cat.
river.
Yeah.
So I got first thing I did is I checked to see if he had any scars or cuts or anything like that. And I don't think he was out that long because he wasn't phased at all. He came up to me, and then I brought him back inside, and I kind of petted him for a minute and made sure he was okay. And then I got the cat food out for him and fed him, and he ate, and he was fine.
That's smart, putting the food out quick.
And he also still has his claws.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
even if something had happened, he would have been able to defend himself at least.
I'm not big on unless they really start getting damaging and things in the house. I don't really take their claws until they start tearing something up. And then
I'm of the theory also that a cat should be able to defend itself.
Right.
But again, it depends.
Yeah, because I plan on having Lucas as a domesticated cat. He's always going to be indoors.
Right.
So I mean,
Well, it used to be when Bear would escape, and I go, oh crap, Bear's gone. He's out of the backyard. I had to go out front and listen. And whichever side of the neighborhood the dogs were barking, I knew where he was going because he was visiting every one of them. Ha-ha, I'm out. You're not. Ha-ha. I went to the other end of the neighborhood, and there he was bouncing around, yelling at another dog. And I stopped the Jeep, and I go, Bear. And he turns and goes, hey, guess where I've been? And he would come running right up to me. It was like, guess what I've been doing?
I love it. Let's see. Where am I? Oh, and so you got. He's fine. Lucas is fine, and our cat is back.
however, the other
Yeah.
last night he was freaking out by the window. He wanted to get out again. He was like crawling
Yeah,
through
that's the danger.
So now I
Got a taste of it.
Yeah. So, but again,
Taste of freedom.
Yeah. Well, no, it's true. But
He's looking for the underground cat railroad
You
now.
got a taste of it. So yeah, now you got to be very careful.
well, the
So
funny thing
sneak-
is, I mean, I'm sure if he would have, let's say this would have happened tonight when it's really cold, I
Yeah.
bet he wouldn't have gone that far. Again, I don't know
Yeah,
because
who knows?
he's a kitten still.
Yeah.
And nothing scared him. If something scared him, he'd be careful to go out again. But now he's, what the hell?
He got lucky because there's strays all around here.
Yeah. Let's see.
Maybe he got some while he was out. Maybe
You could have. I've been complaining about the construction all over the place here and flat tires, and I've heard from so many people. They have 3 flat tires in the last 2 months. I mean, it's just debris and contractors and jackhammers and plates. And anyway, and yesterday I went. It was time for my. A breast implant check, my ICD. It's a breast implant. It's not exactly a pacemaker, but it's like it's an ICD, they call it. Anyway, and normally the last time I went down to Piedmont Hospital, and I told you when I went down there, I'm never going down there again. I'm never going to deliberately, on my own, decide to go to Piedmont Hospital. The parking's a nightmare. The streets are a nightmare. The garages are a nightmare. You don't know where you're going. They're too narrow. You can't find. I mean, it's just horrible. Anyway, so when I went the last time, they said, well, we'll come back in a year or 6 months. I said, can you make it a year? And he said, okay. Because that's supposed to. You're supposed to go every 6 months.
They have places up here.
Anyway. They have one at the perimeter.
Which I go to.
But if for me, going to the perimeter can be even almost as much of a problem. Anyway, I didn't.
You want them to come to your house?
No. The option for me then at that point, after we went down to Piedmont, the guy said, I said, make it a year. And I said, is there anywhere else I can go besides here? He said, well, there's a place in Canton. You live in Alpharetta. I said, I'll take it. Canton is not that far from Alpharetta. It's like 20 miles where I have to go. Okay. So I start off yesterday morning, and I'm driving up 400 to go to the thing, and you get off, and all of a sudden, construction freaking everywhere. It took, in fact, I went Hembry and then Route 120 or something, and then, and it was all construction. Cones, plates, all the way to, I couldn't believe it took me an hour and 10 minutes to go 20 miles. Anyway, and then
remind me never to take a trip with you.
I know, it's the story of my life. This is how my life is going lately. So I get in there, and my little ICD thing it's in my chest. They sewed it into my chest. Okay, and I've had it for I think 5 years, and it's good for another 5 or 6 more to go. Okay,
cyborg.
yeah. And when you get a check, they just pull the thing to it, goes clink, and then they can see the entire record of every heartbeat for the last year. Literally, they can look it up. And they can tell whether you had an incident or a little glip or something. So anyway, it's very, very high-tech stuff. Okay, so what the hell is it? So she said... she looked at, I read the thing, and she says, do you have one of those, the kid at home, right? Near my bedroom, when you go to sleep, you're supposed to have your little monitor near you within 20 feet of your chest. And it's just a little plastic, small, 6-inch by 6-inch plastic container thing. And it has a little beeping light and a little plug thing in the back. Looks like a little thing. Anyway, and I said, oh yeah, I have that. And she said, well, it's not showing up. And I said, and I said, what does that mean? She said, well, when you go home, I want you to push the little heart diddly little symbol, the heart symbol, and it should start going diddly dee on each side, and you'll be fine. But if it goes to orange, I said, no, I don't even want to know. I said, if it goes to orange and if I just fall down, just call my kids and tell them I was thinking of them. The last breath I took was, I love my children. Something like that. Semper Fi, I love my kids. And she said, no. And I said, well, it's the story of my life. I said, because it's not going to, I just had a tire. And so I started to freak out immediately. And it's like, remember when I went to Comcast and I said, well, can I just plug the new box in? Well, no, we're going to have you get an app. And then you have to learn. I said, no, please. God. So sure enough, I said, and she's a beautiful, sweet girl named Shelby. Anyway, at the it was a Piedmont Heart, something. Anyway, up there in Canton. So she said, no, if it goes orange, then I want you to call this number. Tell them you talk to me. This is the iTech big time. I'm going, oh Jesus, I'm starting to have these nightmares right now immediately. And she says, you just call this number. Tell them you talk to me. And I said, and they'll walk you through it. And she said, they'll get the app, and I'm going, oh no, I don't want another app. So anyway, so I'm totally freaking out. She's and they're so sweet when I do this. The girls, hey, it's all right. I'll take care of you. It's like, don't you cry. Anyway, so I go home. It's fine. It worked. It recycled, and everything was fine. But it was just another thing, and it took me I blew half a day just doing junk stuff.
Did you tell her you used to drive a Shelby?
No, I didn't.
And you were willing to again?
I didn't say a thing. Let me drive you home. I said, anyway, but she was very sweet, but again, it's just I figured I feel I'm so out of the everything, whatever. And a reminder, I'm going to be, as we speak, it's Friday, Veterans Day, the 11/11 of 22. And tomorrow morning is the 12th, and that's the morning I'm going to be the guest sender-offer of a 5K charity race for the American Legion Post 29 in Marietta, at Marietta Square. So if you're up early in the morning, it's like 7. We're going to kick them off at like 7:30 in the morning. And it's a 3-mile race, basically a 5K race. And then we'll give out awards and meet the crowd and stuff like that. So anyway, if you're up in the morning around Marietta Square, I'll see you on Saturday. And I told Jim Niarchos, the door guy, and I said, Jim, I'm not I'm not going to give a speech of today the people of America demand a better, I'm not doing that. But he said, no, tell your stories and I said, okay, I'll just have some fun. So anyway, whatever. But that's tomorrow morning, just for the record.
Please do not tell your heart story if you're going to. No. Don't do it. Those people don't want to hear that. I was
trying to let people know that they may be having a heart attack and never know it, because I never knew it.
Oh, I meant the other heart story you just told.
Sorry. Which heart story?
Any of them. These people don't want to hear about a heart stopping when they're about to run a
Well, they said I should have been dead. I should have died. And I didn't go to the hospital for 2 days. That's pretty stupid.
That is really stupid.
Anyway.
We told you to go, too. Everybody
I
told
know.
you to go.
Well, it was Veterans Day. I wasn't going to leave on Veterans Day. I had to do the show, anyway, so whatever. All right, now, let's see. Being a Veterans Day, can we do a little Veterans stuff, just a little military stuff?
Sure.
Is that okay? A couple of things I thought was pretty interesting whoops-a-daisy. I don't know where that came from. Here we go. I thought this was fairly amusing. Some people you may not have known actually served their country in uniform. How about Ice-T?
Wow.
The Law and Order SVU star and rapper Ice-T, his real name is Tracy Morrow, served 4 years in the Army's 25th Infantry. He enlisted in 79 after graduating from high school in Los Angeles and left the Army with an honorable discharge. Ice-T, Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry, Unforgiven, all the stuff, was drafted into the Army for the Korean War. He was a swim instructor at Fort Ord, California, and he was in a plane crash at Point Reyes, which culminated in the lifeguard serviceman swimming to shore. Clint Eastwood. It crashed when he was in the Army. Dang. Steve McQueen served in the Marines from 1947 to 1950. Wasn't exactly the role model you might want to expect for a Marine. He was busted back down to private 7 times. He got promoted 7 times and busted 7 times. He's quoted in his own book, American Rebel, "The only way I could have been made corporal was if all the other privates in the Marines dropped dead." Not exactly an honorable thing. Elvis Presley, of course, was in the Army. He drafted in the Army in 1957. He said, "People were expecting me to mess up, to goof up one way or another. They thought I couldn't take it and so forth, and I was determined to go to any limits to prove otherwise." And he did. He was a very good soldier. He could have gotten out of it, and he chose to serve his country, and he did. He was in Germany, basically. Morgan Freeman was a radar technician in the Air Force. He joined the Air Force, took it immediately when he arrived there, did 3 years, 8 months, 10 days. Took me a year and a half to get disabused of my romantic notions about it. Morgan Freeman. George Carlin was in the Air Force, trained in aviation electronics in there for 3 years. He was discharged for poor conduct. It was after his military stint that Carlin pursued his comedy dreams. In fact, when he was stationed in California, I believe, or Nevada, maybe someplace, he was doing a part-time gig at a local radio station, and that's how he got into comedy. Humphrey Bogart, listed in the Navy. Check this out. I had no idea. Humphrey Bogart was wounded when he enlisted in the Navy in World War I. During his service in World War I, Humphrey Bogart was hit by a shard of flying shrapnel, which gave him the scar on his lip and his signature lisp, because he was wounded in World War I. After serving for years and being honorably discharged, pursued an acting career because otherwise Mr. T was in the military. Born Lawrence Turod, listed in the Army in the 70s, was in the Military Police Corps, was elected top trainee of the cycle out of 5,000 troops and a squad leader. Well, hell, I was a squad leader. Chuck Norris served in the Air Force in 1958, stationed in South Korea, where he learned martial arts, and then served later in America, discharged in 62. Yes.
Air Force?
Yeah.
That destroys his entire macho image.
I know. But he learned his skills by the Japanese people, so the little ninjas, so that makes up for it. But it was in the Air Force. Johnny Cash, born Sam Phillips. Did you know that? Johnny Cash's real name is Sam Phillips.
I didn't know that.
Was in the Air Force station in Germany, where he bought his first guitar and helped shape his music career. Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
A member of the Army, enlisted in 1961, assigned to the 101st Airborne Division, stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, served for a year before he got discharged because he got hurt. I think it was on a parachute jump.
Broke his leg or foot or something.
And played the national anthem at Woodstock a few years later. Chris Christopherson served in the Army 1960 to 64 with the rank of captain, infantry division. Was a helicopter pilot in Germany. He was offered a teaching job at West Point and turned it down to study, to continue with music. And his father almost disowned him because his father was either a general or full bird colonel, very military oriented, and they were very upset that Chris Christopherson became kind of a hippie. One more quickie here. B. Arthur, Maud, Hoy, whenever I'm in
She was
Atlanta,
a
I listen to the
four-star
Kimmer.
general.
B. Arthur of the Golden Girls was a truck driver when she served in the United States Marine Corps.
Oh, my God.
She was one of the first members of the Women's Reserve and also worked not only as a truck driver but a typist. Her real name is Bernice Frankel. She enlisted in 1943 at the age of 21.
Marine.
Yeah, Marine Corps. Drew Carey, also a Marine, 6 years in the Marines. He looks back on those days fondly. He instilled a great sense of discipline that I call in when need to. Paul Newman was in the Navy for 3 years, 1943 to 46. That's where Paul Newman learned he was colorblind. He was in the Navy's V-12 pilot training program, found out he was colorblind and had to go to basic training instead, and that was stationed in Hawaii. He was a torpedo bomber squadron member of the Navy to train replacement pilots.
How ironic that the man known as Old Blue, well, one of the blue-eyed people of the world, was colorblind. Unbelievable.
Mel Brooks, at the age of 17, 1944, enlisted in the Army. He ranked very high in intelligence testing, enrolled in the Army Specialized Training Program, was shipped off to Europe with the Engineer Combat Group. Mel Brooks served in the Battle of the Bulge and was discharged as a corporal. Johnny Carson, enlisted in the Navy, started World War II, wanted to train to be a pilot, and instead received midshipman training at Columbia University. He was at the USS Pennsylvania. Johnny Carson was on the ship USS Pennsylvania on his way to combat when the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki ended the war. And Ed McMahon, his sidekick, you may know, was, of course, enlisted in the Marines. He was a Marine Corps officer fighter pilot, served 85 combat missions in the Korean War, ended his career as a Marine Corps colonel. Ed McMahon didn't. In fact, every year on a Marine Corps birthday, would do the Manual of Arms, which I am not going to do because I don't have my M14 or anybody's M14. Hugh Hefner, I didn't know this, 1944 enlisted, founder of Playboy. He enlisted in the Army, was an infantry clerk. And let's see, Tom Selleck was in the California National Guard after being drafted for Vietnam. Like so many others, when he got drafted, where's that National Guard office? Because they weren't going to Vietnam. Now, ironically, the National Guard did end up going to Vietnam. But for the first 6 or 7 years, they were exempt from going to. They needed to keep them here at home. So the people who wanted to get out of going to Vietnam, but still wanted, didn't mind serving their country or wanted to, enlisted in the not all, but many frequently enlisted in the National Guard to get out of Vietnam duty.
Was Lee Marvin on that list?
Lee Marvin is as I think we all know about Lee Marvin. Sidney Poitier. Was an impoverished teen when he came to America with no money, enlisted in the Army at the age of 16, telling me I was 18, and served as a physiotherapist for a year before they discharged him. I found that he shouldn't have been
Roberto
there.
Clemente from Puerto Rico was in the Marine Corps Reserve.
Right. The Everly Brothers, who were both enlisted in the Marines, were also reservists, where you could go to boot camp, and then you'd spend 6 years going to summer camp and stuff.
How about Captain Kangaroo?
Captain Kangaroo, another one. In fact, Lee Marvin, I think, was quoted as saying that Captain Kangaroo is one of the bravest guys he ever knew. Apparently, he got shot up on Iwo Jima. No. That's not true, though.
By the way, on his tombstone, Lee Marvin, all it says is that he was a Marine.
Right.
Nothing about his acting career or anything.
He was Lee Marvin was a hero. Yeah. Lee Marvin was a hero.
When he shot in the butt?
Yeah, he shot in the ass.
He shot in the ass.
Yeah. MC
he
Hammer.
tells that story on Johnny Carson. He told that story.
That's right. I remember that. MC Hammer was born Stanley Kirk Burrell, served in the Navy for 3 years. In Japan and California, and anyway, so there. That's at least that's a whole bunch of them, but just for the record. Okay. Oh, can I? Let me do one more military thing. Okay, just a little quick thing.
Do whatever you want.
Okay. Well, again, I it is Veterans Day, and I do want to honor.
If it gets too much, we'll just leave.
Hit the bell. Hit the bell. And Cindy, get off my ass. All right.
Cindy wants you to talk about Gallagher, but anyway.
Oh well, you want to do that? We'll do that. We'll do that next.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me do this one thing. I'll do a thing, and then we'll do the latest. I was going to save that as a surprise, but now that you've mentioned there's somebody named Gallagher's in the news. No. Well, they probably already know. Okay. This is not long. It'll just take me a moment.
That's what she said.
And she also just said, it'll just take me a moment.
How true she was.
Thank you. I should have known. She said no the first time I asked her to marry me. Sorry. Anyway, back when we were on the radio, every year I used to do on Veterans Day and Memorial Day, I would do a thing once a year and so forth. A simple soldier died today, which I could never get through reading because it was so sad. But here's one which I used to do, and I've got the date here as 2014, so I don't think I've done this for 6 years. But here is a quick story. September 2005, first day of school, Martha Cothran, a history teacher at Robinson High in Little Rock, did something not to be forgotten. On the first day of school, with the permission of the school superintendent, the principal, and the building supervisor, she removed all of the desks in her classroom. When the first period kids entered the room, they discovered it was empty, no desks. "Miss Cothran, where are our desks?" She replied, "You can't have a desk until you tell me how you earn the right to sit at a desk." They thought. One girl said, "Well, maybe it's our grades." "No, not that. Maybe it's our good behavior." She told them, "No, it's not even your good behavior." So they came and they went. The first period, second period, third period. Still no desks in the classroom. Kids were calling their parents to tell them what was going on. By early afternoon, television news crews had started gathering at the school to report about this crazy teacher who had taken all the desks out of the room. The final period of the day came, and as the puzzled students and media were looking, the kids found seats on the floor of the deskless classroom. Martha Cothran said, quote, "Throughout the day, no one has been able to tell me just what he or she has done to earn the right to sit at the desks that are ordinarily found in this classroom. Now, I'm going to tell you." At this point, Martha Cothran went over to the door of her classroom and opened it. 27 veterans, American veterans, all in uniform, walked into the classroom, each one carrying a school desk. The vets began placing the school desks in rows, and then they would walk over and stand alongside the wall. By the time the last soldier had set the final desk in place, those kids started to understand, perhaps for the first time in their lives, just how the right to sit at those desks had been earned. Martha said, "You did not earn the right to sit at these desks. These heroes did it for you. They placed the desks here for you. They went halfway around the world, giving up their education and interrupting their careers and their families so you could have the freedom that you have. Now it's up to you to sit in them. It's your responsibility to learn, to be good students, and to be good citizens. They paid the price so that you could have the freedom to get an education. Don't ever forget it." And this is a true story. This teacher was awarded the Veterans of Foreign Wars Teacher of the Year for the state of Arkansas, and her father was a POW from World War II. Okay, I made it pretty much through there. I'll be damned.
Did they ever let the kids out from under the desk when they put the desk on top of the kids?
Well, they made a couple of mistakes. They're Marine. They were trained. They were, I used to that kind of stuff. It was very, very.
What year was that?
It was 2005.
No, what year was that?
24. Did I read it?
No.
No, it happened in 2005. The year 2005.
Oh, okay. Central.
So
High.
this was in
That's where in Little Rock. That's where my father and my aunt went there. Yeah.
Robinson High School,
Robinson
Little
High.
Rock.
Oh, okay.
Robinson High School, 2005, first day of school.
Wow, surprised they were. Surprised in
Yeah.
2005
But
they
what
allowed
a-
someone to do
what
that.
a great lesson.
You know?
Anyway, so that's my little story. Now, Gallagher. I mean, tell. I don't know much about what happened. You tell about Gallagher. I assume everybody probably knows, but maybe not.
The
Just people around the
Sledge-O-Matic.
world. Yeah.
I never saw him live, but we used to watch his shows on HBO and
He'd show up on
Showtime.
Johnny Carson once in a while, and some
He
of
was
those
funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the watermelons and stuff. He did a whole comedy routine before he would start smashing stuff, and it was funny.
He'd always have a hat. Didn't he always have?
Because he was bald on
felt
top.
hat?
He had real crazy hair, and he had
Yeah.
a little cap. He had a cap
Yeah.
on.
And he was real flamboyant, and didn't he have a lot of stunts
he
up in a box
smashed.
and thing? Didn't he?
It
Have
wasn't
a box full of
Carrot
stuff?
Top. That was Carrot Top you're thinking of.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember that. I thought he had other stuff besides the watermelon. But
Yeah, he did prop humor.
He was a prop.
He did
comic.
cantaloupes and
Yeah, and again, tell him the incident of why he did them or what he used them for. So he's on
Comedy.
stage, yeah, but I mean he's doing a thing, and then what did the watermelon have to do with anything?
He threatened the people in the front rows that he'd ask them questions, or they'd get something wrong, or he'd keep pretending to do it, and no one thought he was going to do it, and then he would actually do it.
And you mentioned earlier, how in the world
Did a theater allow him in there, knowing what was they can put plastic down? It don't matter. That stuff's going everywhere. Watermelon is sticky.
Oh, yeah.
Ants.
Yeah.
You got ants for
Sugary
months after.
and I mean, it's like
And he was 76. I thought he was my age, but no, he's 76.
Yeah.
He was. Had a couple heart attacks in the last few years, so he was in hospice. He was having bad health, unfortunately.
That's too bad. The only thing I do remember one thing, and I mentioned to you before the show started that I had one thing to kind of, and I think I've got the right guy. If you may know this or may remember it too. One time, and I don't know whether it was on Johnny Carson or it was somebody's talk show, late night talk show, and he was on, did his thing, went over to the couch, moved over a chair, and the next guest was Chevy Chase, I believe. And Chevy Chase was talking to Johnny or whatever, and Gallagher kept saying stuff like, "You think that's funny? You got nothing. You don't even know what you're talking." I mean, just attacked him the whole freaking time. And I thought, God, that's awkward. I mean, now it was horrible.
Gallagher did that to Chevy Chase?
I think that's in my head. If I'm wrong, I apologize.
Chevy was known for being
yeah.
He'd hit you.
But I think that's why. I think that's what shocked me was it, and Chevy was totally flabbergasted.
I can't see that happening.
Well, I may have
that's
the wrong.
Amazing.
That's what I remember, that he was real aggressive and almost made him. I mean, it ruined the whole bit.
Fever dream here.
And if that's incorrect or somebody remembers who that, if it was somebody else, but that's what I'm thinking. It was Gallagher and Chevy Chase. If it was some other comedian, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Anyway,
and Kevin Conroy died, which if you had kids who watched. Who do you think Kevin Conroy is?
No, I know. I see his face, and I remember. I can't remember the name of the series and the movies he was in. He was a coach. Was it Kojak? No. It's a police film, wasn't
you're
it?
Not even close. He was the voice of Batman. If anyone had any kids or grandkids that watched any of the Batman for the last 20 plus years on the animated stuff,
the
cartoons,
Batman?
He was the voice of Batman, and everyone knew it. If you heard his voice, he did a lot of stuff. He did a lot of commercials. Kevin Conroy, he did commercials. He did. He acted a little bit. He did a little. He left because I said if you did too much military, who's going to leave? Well, he left.
Well, he's gone. It's over. Anyway, when he comes back, because I can't think of who you're talking about. I can't think of the voice.
If you hear his voice, you probably would recognize it from commercials. Hey, we need the voice of Kevin Conroy doing Batman. Because he passed away. If you had kids,
you know. Find that just because I can't remember what it sounded like. So we're trying. Are you okay? Is everything all right?
Yeah. I was checking on Lucas and my brother.
Is he still okay?
Yep.
Your brother's here?
No, he was giving me a buzz. He's gonna swing by here and grab something, so I put it.
Oh, bring him in. When he comes in, we got to talk.
He's working. He's just.
I don't care if he's working. Get his ass in here.
By the way, there was a guy standing outside the window for a while there while you were talking.
A guy standing outside the window.
Yeah, because the trash is one building down, so people over here cut through the back all the time.
You must have been. What the hell?
I have to entertain the neighbor's wife now. All right. Well, Flower's going to get the voice of Kevin. Was it Kevin?
Kevin Conroy, I believe was his name.
Kevin Conroy, and because I can't remember what
Doing
his voice
Batman,
sounded like, just out of curiosity. And we got a whole bunch of news here. I'm going to talk about the Trump DeSantis business. President pervert who showers with daughter. And by the way, I'll do this one thing before I forget. I heard a message of his voice. President Crime Family, and he was talking about how he honors the veterans and their service on this day and saluting the members who have sacrificed for the, that offends me. That offends me. This is the same guy who used two United States Marines and the bright red flames of hell to threaten everybody who didn't vote for him, including guys like me who are Marines. I mean, he doesn't. This is the same guy who has now led the country down the path where we have a Navy admiral who is in charge of public health things, who's a tranny. a man dressing like a girl in a Navy girl's skirt.
Mentally ill. Mentally ill.
And by the way, the ugliest tranny. I'm sorry, I'm saying it. I don't care if that's offensive or not. I don't give a damn. He's the ugliest. If you're going to be a girl, if you're a guy and you want to be a girl, wouldn't you try to have some semblance of, I don't know, not hideousness? I mean, he's disgusting. And I saw a picture of him standing with an actual woman. It was a big high something or other. And he's wearing this girl's skirt and high heel. Oh, God, come on, you're killing me.
He looks like a Muppet.
I mean,
that's how ugly he is.
And the wokeness, silly Millie, and the way he handled Afghanistan, the murderous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the cutting down of the troops, the business with. I mean, he's so anti-military, it's unbelievable.
It worked.
God Almighty!
It worked.
And he says, he should be impeached immediately.
He ain't gonna be impeached.
I know. Because we got cowards, and they'll probably will not get rid of the two leaders in the Senate who are going to be in the House who are going to be taking McCarthy and Mitch McConnell, and they'll probably both still be in power, and nothing will happen.
All right, here's the voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy.
That turned up, so he.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Okay. He was screaming there, so
that's
but
a little.
still.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can find a better one.
Yeah, see if I maybe one of his commercials.
Because a very distinctive voice, but he was Batman.
There's a lot of music in the background on that one.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Not safe here. No one will worry about me. You're needed out there.
I've been doing the character now for 20 years. The audience knows him as well as I do. They would know in a second if I did something inauthentic, and they'd call me on it.
I recognize
People
that.
serious
Great
about
voice.
that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of it. Well, that's he's made his living that way. Probably a very nice living, I would think.
Oh yeah.
And the guy was this. And now, from out of the heavens, the guy who does all the movie trailers.
In a
he
world.
made like $1 million, every 6 months from going into the studio, twice a week.
In a world that brings you
far away in a galaxy. He was great.
He was.
Anyway.
And that's what he did. He that sucker was a millionaire.
Yeah, oh God, yeah, absolutely. I was in Vietnam with a guy named Gary W. Gears. Gary W. Gears. God, he had the deepest, greatest pipes. And when he came back, when I was in Chicago, I recognized his voice. He did all the Sears commercials for years and a whole bunch of car company commercials. If you heard his voice, you'd recognize it. This is years ago, though. But and he had the greatest set of pipes. And he had his own home studio, and the advertising agencies would call him. We need cut 4, cut 7 of the Chicago area Ford dealers. He says, okay, pump them out, boom, bam. $200,000. I mean, he would just rake in the money from the advertising plan, and that's, again, God bless him. No, I never thought about doing that. Anyway, a veteran, being veteran. I don't know why I was complaining this morning on the radio, 106.3, by the way. That on Veterans Day, and given what's happened with the election, this country is clearly not the country I thought it was going to be. This election should have been overwhelmingly. Everybody in the Republican camp should have been swamping everybody, and we didn't. And there should be no reason for late night counts. It should have been over because they should have been 90% Republican votes anyway.
It's over.
It is over.
Right.
But in terms of like the military, I mentioned this morning. I don't know whether I would have joined if I were 19 like I was when I joined the Marines. When I left my college class one day, walked across the street to the thing and enlisted in the Marines. I don't know whether I do that again today. I don't trust the military, the direction they're taking. Wokeness, trannies. Are you kidding me? So I'm very disappointed in it. Plus, I mentioned this too. The story got coming up a little later. A federal judge has apparently, maybe for good, but certainly putting a hamper in it, has blocked President Pervert's student loan payment, bribery program. I mean, whoever thought that was legal? It's not. Even the judge said you don't have the power with one finger to change the laws of Congress. I mean, he clearly said you can't do this.
Unconstitutional.
Yeah, you don't have any right to do this. And so, but it amazes me that no one ever said if they want to try to help a segment of the population. If you were to list segments of the population that as a taxpayer you wouldn't mind, chipping in a couple of bucks to support or however you want to rank it, they never mention the military. Veterans it never shows up.
I agree.
Yeah, and remember, when I was a sergeant in the Marines, I was making $400 a month. I got free housing with 25 other guys, sure, but for free and food. But still, it's, how about veterans loans? How about veterans car loans? How about veterans health problems?
Just the homeless. Most of the homeless have some military background.
I know. It's really astounding. And again, I'm not. It's Veterans Day. God bless every veteran and the families. Again, the wives and the families of the veterans. You have no idea of the sacrifices they have to make. If you ever seen military housing for enlisted housing on military bases, is pretty pathetic. Did you live in that in the Navy? My wife was in the Navy. Or were you outside?
No,
camp?
we got a bungalow on the beach, but when we first got to San Diego, we stayed at a base in a really bad neighborhood. And it wasn't that bad because they were taking care of them. The Navy in San Diego was treated a little better.
San Diego with all the officers walking around.
But we refused to live because Coronado was nice, but it was too expensive. We didn't want to live there. We wanted to live on the beach.
Anyway, military, military housing especially for enlisted people is really, or used to be, really atrocious. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about?
Help it out with money instead of giving it to students.
Yeah. Again, why would you pick college people who went to Harvard and Yale to study genders, and art history and now can't use their education? Why would we help them out? Why would a truck driver pay his tax money to help out someone who went to Princeton? It's just the whole thing. But again, if America really cared about its veterans, about its military service, everything would be different. You wouldn't have to worry about waiting 7 months to get an operation, or waiting in line for 8 hours or 3 days to get an appointment with a doctor to see whether you're going deaf or whatever. It's just atrocious, So I spent an afternoon one day going through a military hospital and just look at all the veterans in wheelchairs who are just sitting out in the hallway just with nothing to do, just sitting there like this. That's their life. Anyway, so God bless the veterans, and we got again. And this president, it just irked me. I heard it coming in. I was in the car and I heard the soundbite of him saluting our honorable veterans for the service, and I thought, you and your tranny and your Afghanistan withdrawal and giving it his enemy and being a coward. And he's meeting with the Chinese premier right now. What are you trying to pay him? They're probably bowing from the waist, and he probably gets his money that he's owed every month or something. God, if they don't investigate some of these scandals.
We lost. We're the minority now.
We did lose.
We lost the country. I don't know if we get it back.
It's amazing to me after all of the last 2 years when almost 80% of the people in the polls all say we're going in a very bad direction.
75%.
Then how could you vote for Democrats who are responsible for it?
What the women, it was all about abortion. For the women, literally, it was they screw your kids, your grandkids, their education. You could give a shit. You wanted the right to keep murdering babies, and that's what you voted for.
It's unbelievable.
And literally, that's 44% said that was why they voted Democrats. It was all about abortion. So
evil. I'm appalled. It is evil. It is evil.
Did you in Montana? What they voted for or not for?
The law in Montana. Okay, Montana had a law to vote a law that would say that people thought was going to be preventing doctors from that would prevent doctors from performing abortions. That's what they thought. The women who voted against this bill thought that it was going to stop them from getting abortions, I think is what happened. The bill basically said if a baby is being aborted but lives, it said the doctor...
Not just aborted. If a baby's born alive...
miscarriage.
Born alive, even in an abortion.
Or a miscarriage. The law was about the doctor, whether he would have the right or the obligation to save the baby's life. And the law was interpreted to say that if a baby is being aborted but he comes out alive, you shouldn't have to force the doctor to save it. Because it was an abortion after all, so let it die. And they voted for that. So what they basically voted for was a bill that do I understand this correctly, would not allow the doctors to save the life of the live aborted fetus.
The bill that it was voted down. The bill was to save the babies.
Right.
and they voted it down.
Because they were afraid it meant that no more abortions.
That and the fact that Montana is now full of crazy Californians
Yeah, I know.
who have moved there.
Yeah. Well, the governor just had a fight over whether boys should play on girls' sports teams. Remember, she got nailed for that.
That was South Dakota.
Oh, well, same thing. Speaking of the TV show.
We're going to have a geography lesson after the show. We're going to map out.
But again, well, South Dakota, same thing with the people from California moving. I mean,
No. No one from California is moving to South Dakota. Oil workers,
Yeah.
maybe.
But anyway, the fact of the matter was, it was because they thought it was an abortion bill, and it was actually a bill to allow doctors to save the baby's life.
Or they're just evil.
Even in a miscarriage. It wasn't just abortion. It was if a woman says, "Oh my God, I'm having a miscarriage," but doctor, you can't save that baby. I mean, oh my God.
Why don't we just say, cut to the chase, we're Sparta. We get a girl baby we don't like or any baby that looks a little different. We take it out on the hillside and leave it there for the jackals, the hyenas, the wolves, the coyotes, the buzzards.
Well, in Tahiti, they used to take the little girls and throw them in the ocean, take them to the ocean, have a little ceremony, and put the newborn babies in the water.
In China, they'd abort them. The girls.
My God. People are nuts. Colorado is voting to allow psychedelic mushrooms.
Well, see, I'm on the other side on that one. I can't drink anymore. I can't do.
Yeah, but can you imagine people driving along and getting pulled over on the interstate? Yes, sir, officer. You know how fast you were going? No, sir. 9.
This is the doctor. I think has to give it to you. I think you do it as a part of some
You're going to
kind of
get it. And you're
treatment.
going to be able. You know how many friends we have who are legally, medically authorized to have marijuana on them driving? Because they have a certificate saying it's okay and have nothing to do with a medical reason to having marijuana. So, I mean, it just figures. It's legal. And I don't know. I just thought it was, next you're going to legalize LSD. I mean, psychedelic drugs are dangerous. Jesus.
Well, this is more of a psilocybin mushroom-based type, natural, like the Native Americans do.
Yeah, well, okay.
This is not a
It's
manufactured.
like CBD oil, you're telling me? Is that what
It's
you're
not
saying?
manufactured by some crazy lab guy doing LSD.
Yeah, but still, just the fact that they're going to legalize psychedelic mushrooms, I thought
They're
was
already
hysterical.
legalized in Colorado.
Oregon
he's
has.
saying.
No, that Oregon's Colorado's voting on it now. Oregon already has legalized stuff.
But the thing is like what they've done now is it's not like you just back in the day where you'd have a bag of literally mushroom and caps and stems. Now they grind it down and put it in capsules, so you're able to, if you want to, you can monitor your doses. So if you want a very light dose, it's a nice little. The thing is, it's not like when you do it with a lesser amount, it's more just a nice little happy high. It's not like a serious what am I seeing and stuff like that.
We have a former coworker
I was gonna say-
who put himself through a certain college in South Georgia by picking mushrooms at night and selling them.
It's easy money.
But you know
especially
what?
when you lived out in the country.
If you get the right mushroom.
Yeah.
The wrong one.
In fact, do they grow can you find psychedelic
No,
mushrooms in the wild?
It's on.
Yes,
it's grown
all
on,
over Georgia.
Yeah, because it's grown on. It's in cow shit.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You just better pick
Well, I
the
thought
right
you
one. If you pick the wrong one, you're dead.
Yeah, that's not good. But I just thought of something when you said they put it in a pill. If you told me that it was okay for me if you wanted me to have marijuana, but I could only have it in a pill, I'd probably say no thanks.
Well, yeah, because with edibles to now it
Or
similar
edibles, I
with
don't-
me. I'm the same way. It's like when I smoke, I want the high right then. Plus, the smoke is half the high.
A Lucky Strike or a Marlboro.
Whatever. Okay.
Exactly. but again, if they legalize it here, I wouldn't get pills or an edible thing. I'd want to smoke it.
I'm high on chocolate.
I'm a smoker.
I'd just like to say right now that
And those new ones
this
are
is
going to
my
be good
high.
too, by the way.
By the way, Sophia says mushrooms would make this show better.
Oh my God. Sorry.
There are times I wonder why Sophia listens, because she usually doesn't have something nice
critical.
to say.
Hey, Sophia.
No, she's a long-time listener.
That's right.
She's, thinks it could be better with psychedelics.
Oh my God, man! One more quick newsy thing. Oh, two quick newsy things, and then we'll talk more about personal stuff. Three quick. Oh, you got one also?
No, I'm just counting. With you.
Well, 1, 2, or 3. I saw an interview this morning with JonBenet Ramsey's father.
Wow.
John Ramsey.
Why?
I thought he was dead because
She's dead.
Because Patsy died of breast cancer.
Well, I meant JonBenet.
20 years ago. No, JonBenet died on the Christmas evening 26 years ago. And John Ramsey announced finally in Boulder, Colorado, the police department, as of today, is opening the JonBenet Ramsey case cold file. Do you realize? Again, it was, if you don't know what it is, Google it. I don't want to talk about it. It was so brutal. She was a little teeny beauty queen. Was she 5, 6, 7, whatever years old? Beautiful little blonde girl, and they dressed her up like a French hooker in little, high heels and little Band-Aid, stripper uniform. It was disgusting. The, girl beauty contests to me are asking for child molesters to watch their. Anyway, it made me cringe, the whole idea. Okay, so what happened in her house? It was a Christmas night or Christmas Eve, whatever. They found her in the basement, had been tortured, tied up, and all. It's just horrible, horrible, horrible. They have, among the evidence, other than the ropes and the tents, was DNA. It has never been tested.
Why?
Why? The Boulder Police Department never called in any outside agencies.
Why?
They never tested the DNA.
That doesn't make any sense.
And of course, they thought it was Patsy Ramsey did it. They thought the father John did it. They thought the brother did it. That was and the latest one was the brother. We got caught the brother, and apparently he was cleared because he didn't match something that did or whatever. But again, they never. I'm flabbergasted. 26 years, and they're opening a cold case investigation of JonBenet Ramsey's murder.
Wayne and I did a ghost hunt in her cemetery, JonBenet.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. Yeah. Unbelievable. Did you see her at all? She wasn't. No, sorry. Anyway, I thought that was appalling. Also, just came out this morning, our friends, the Nazis at the FBI, apparently had informants and secret mole informants inside the Oath Keepers. One of the Oath Keepers' vice presidents was an FBI mole informant. And two things about that. Therefore, the FBI knew, he apparently knew and passed along to the FBI all the information about what might be happening January 6th. This was months before January 6th, like October before January. And so they knew all the information that was going to be happening about the Oath Keepers. Also, the FBI had a secret informant mole in the Proud Boys. And the Proud Boys FBI informant was telling the FBI that there were no plans to attack the Capitol, but there was some bad talk and things were going on. But there was a chance that someone would want to attack the Capitol. So let me ask you this: then why didn't the FBI have security in place? Why didn't Nancy Pelosi allow security or the National Guard or extra police to be at the Capitol, since everybody, including the FBI, knew that there were some people planning to at least be there and maybe cause some trouble? And yet they didn't stop it. They wanted it to happen. Yeah. That's why Nancy Pelosi didn't put any security on January 6th, because she knew there was going to be a problem. And the FBI knew there was going to be a problem and wanted it to happen. And the guy, what's his name? Ray Epps. Whatever happened, the guy was saying, make sure you go in the building. Don't forget, you got to go over here, here, and here. He led the thing. He's never been charged. He was one of the FBI agents. Informal agent. Mole. I guarantee it. Sue me. Tell me I'm wrong. Put you under freaking. Oh, well, they lie through their ass now. Yes, there's no bias in the FBI, says Chrissy Ray, the effeminized FBI director. Oh, there's no bias in the FBI. No.
Most people think the FBI's fine.
God.
The FBI's doing a great job.
Disgusting. Why didn't they stop it? If they knew it was going to happen, and when the first incidents happened, they should have had their SWAT teams ready to go in case there was a problem. They should have been right there. It never should have escalated.
FBI has a long history of doing really horrible things.
Ruby Ridge? Let's name a couple.
MLK.
Oh, my God. The files on him? Yeah. Listening to him having sex in a motel room in Memphis and stuff? Oh, my God. Anyway, okay, well, we'll talk about now. Hold on. I want to brag about our friends at flagcode.com. That's right. In fact, I have a flag flying beautifully out there. In fact, I put some video of it the other day. I got it from flagcode.com, and it's beautiful, and it's still beautiful. It looks brand new. Yeah. And I have it on my upstairs deck, and my deck is western exposure. So all year long in the summertime, the beating sun is right on my flag, and it still looks brand new. It's just fantastic. But again, just in time for Christmas and the holidays, flagco.com. I'll give you their phone number here in a second, but on the web, it's flagco.com. They have the Starry Night Flagpole Christmas lights. Everything but the pole to create the Christmas tree of lights. You need a 15 to 25-foot pole, or they can custom build one for you. They have cool white, warm white, red, blue, multicolor sets of lights. They have a mini version Starry Night that everything, including a 10-foot pole. The second item that's really hot right now this time of year is the trailer hitch flagpole kit. They have them in single or double flags, and you can find out more about that at flagco.com. And don't forget the 20-foot telescopic pole with wheelbase, perfect for tailgating. The base actually slides under a tire to weigh it down. When the game's over, it collapses into a nice little package for the following week. And don't forget, flagco.com is also looking for, they need some people to work in the warehouse. By the way, that sounds pretty good. Okay, look, this Venmo's working okay.
We don't have to lift anything, do we?
Yeah, not heavy stuff. Or, anyway, they need. I think they need at least 3 warehouse workers. So if you're looking for work, steady work, my friends, and hey, this is a great idea. So. Flagco.com. They have mounting kits to mount things to brick walls, which a lot of other companies cannot do. American flags, every world flag, military flags, banners, sales flags. If you have like an open house at a cul-de-sac meeting or something, they have those little, what they call them, the bow and arrow flag banners. We're open here, kind of stuff like that. They have mounting kits and colored things and white poles and non-pole. I mean, they've got it all. Look them up on the web, flagco.com. Here is their phone number. 800-962-0956, and it's flagco.com. The lighting kits, mounting kits, and mine looks beautiful. I really, really, really do like it. Nice job, you guys. Nice job. Okay, now, all right. Okay, we did the show on 106.3 Wednesday morning. We talked about politics and everything on the election. That night, or that afternoon, I guess it was that early. President showers with daughter, stands there at the podium, taking a victory lap, bragging about how we won. He actually said, "We won." And the more I saw him, by the way, he also did his typical thing. He was talking about the war in Ukraine against one of the major cities and mentioned a city in Afghanistan at the time. But I thought it was fairly amusing, you know. But again, nobody called him on it.
Well, Montana, South Dakota.
Well, I'm not the president of the United States. Don't vote for me then. Christy Noem, I got her name right. How about that? All right, thank you. So I got 1 thing out of 3. You know, look out. Anyway, but you know, as he's talking about, he mentioned he gets a thing wrong, and then he says, "And we're just beginning." And he said, "You know, wait till you see in January you're going to get health care for $35 a month instead of $400 a month." We're going, "Yay! Oh my God, we won! We're all in for it." I'm going, "Holy crap!" $35. I don't know where that came up. He said the words. He said, "How about health care for $35 a month on my plan instead of $300 a month?" Yay! And I'm going, "Oh, let's all get free cars! Yay!"
Inflation.
Oh my God.
But here's
and you know the question when the reporter asked him, and the other thing, when he had his news conference, he actually, like a buffoon, again, pulls out the paper and says, "Here's the names I'm supposed to call on reporters." You freaking puppet. You empty-minded puppet. I mean, have you ever heard of such a thing? Yeah. And of course, now the White House press corps is saying, "Hey, wait a minute, what is this all about?" Anyway, so one of the reporters, he must have felt like he turned on him, and the reporter, you may have seen the soundbite, and the reporter said, "Mr. President, 75% of the American people in the surveys show that we're going in the wrong direction. What are you going to do in the next 2 years to put us on a better path?" And he says, "Nothing." He literally said the word nothing. He said nothing because the American voters learned in the election that it takes time for these things to work. Oh, my God.
He's right.
And he's right, and he got away with it.
Yeah.
That's the excuse. And again, candidates don't matter. It doesn't matter how bad John Fetterman was. They're going to have these people vote because, one, they hate Trump and anything Trump supports, and two, it doesn't matter. The candidates don't matter.
They're talking about, MSNBC's talking about Fetterlump running for president.
For president. Katie Tur came on MSNBC and was seriously talking about Fetterman, the man's a monster. He's not a hero.
It ain't him coming out of, it's Shapiro they're going to run. I guarantee you, Shapiro is who they're going to run if he wants to do it. Out of that. By the way, Flounder, did you have something you were going to say earlier?
Well, I mean, even though a red wave didn't happen, there's still a chance that we take the Senate. So even if we take,
there is good
that's
news.
what I'm saying. So there's going to be a major shift in power.
Right. It's very good news that we apparently would take the House, but not by. It may only be a couple of votes, but still if you take the House, you can subpoena people, you can have hearings, you have new committee chairmen, all those committees.
You can
then
impeach.
get Republican chairman.
Pelosi's
you can impeach.
gone.
Yeah, right. She'll be out. So that's good news. That is good news. But on the other hand, when you realize that after Putty Tat's first midterm, he lost like 50 seats. And these Democrats may lose 2 or 3, which is unconscionable to me because the 2 years we've had under this guy are way worse than the 2 years we had under either Clinton or Putty Tat.
Here's what I got to say to all those Northeasterners and Midwesterners that voted for Democrat.
Yeah.
When you're huddled in your cold homes this winter where you can't get your heating oil, not that you can't afford it, which you probably can, but you won't be able to get it because no one can get diesel right now.
Right.
They're rationing diesel.
Right.
It's only going to get worse.
And diesel,
when you freeze your ass off all winter, don't come crying to us.
Yeah. And diesel, by the way, is not going down. Diesel's still almost $6
and
a
don't
gallon.
move down here either.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, stay where you are. You deserve. You voted for him. Stay there and suck it.
Somebody had a good idea. So the reason New York still went Democrat and everything, because everybody up there that moved down to Florida to get away from it and voted Republican.
That's all that's left now. It's Democrats.
So hopefully that's true.
Yeah, that'd be so freaking horrible. Anyway, now I just got. I hope this. I don't know if this is a work man. Oh, somebody said Happy Veterans Day, and I don't know who it is. Oh wait.
Wait a minute.
It's a number, and it says, wanted to reach out and say my condolences for Jack and congrats on coming back on the air at Extra. Tell Pete I said hello. Oh, Quarter Pounder.
Oh, hi, Cord.
Oh, it's Quarter Pounder, but I don't have his name under the number. And he said Happy Veterans Day. Quarter Pounder was our former board ops before Flounder, right? Yeah. Jerry. And I gave him. I won't tell you why I gave him the nickname, but
Yeah, you can.
No.
You've told it before.
Oh, I don't really. Time a girl in the car.
The first time I met him was our last day on news radio, and I remember he reminded me of Freddie Freeman.
He does.
No, he looks just exactly
like
like Freddie
Freddie.
Freeman. I mean, he's 5'11", but Freddie Freeman's 6'4", whatever. But he looks just like Freddie Freeman.
Right, it's a fright.
He's a spitting image of Freddie Freeman. True.
Dan tweets, can someone please explain to me how the third largest state in America that was just devastated by a hurricane a month ago can get 10 million ballots counted in 2 hours, but it takes medium-sized Democrat-run counties 5 days to count a few 100,000?
There's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it. And why Arizona could still be counting 400,000 votes is, there's no explanation for this. It's not possible. How did Florida do it?
Because they have the state-of-the-art system to
and
do
they
it now.
Track your votes. I mean, it's just
After a hurricane, I forgot about that. They just had a hurricane that devastated a third of the state, and they still did it.
Yeah.
By the way, Blake says, who's running for president, Biden Fetterman 2024. It's a no-brainer.
Please, God. And still, still Democrats would still vote for him.
Put it on the Ritz.
Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Trump and DeSantis.
Yes, sir.
All right, for the record, as you know, I voted for Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. The actions he took as president, the direction he took as president, the things he demanded as president, the respect we earned as president from others around the world, the economy, the safety, the military, everything he was doing. He started the Space Corps. The man was, everything he did was for the betterment of America. He's an egomaniac in so many ways in his life, but everything he did as president was not to glorify himself. It was really to make America better and stronger. I mean, do you agree? Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
I mean, I really do truly believe that. There was never an issue, issues about him personally and stuff, but never about what he was doing for the country. However, he is still the most divisive force in politics that we've ever known. I can't think of another, unless it was back in the days of the 1890s or something. But I can't think of another politician who has been as divisive for his own party, let alone both parties, as Donald Trump has been. And what I don't understand is why now he's come out and attacked DeSantis again. And this is personal.
He's afraid of it. I'm with you. I loved everything he did, but I'm so over him as a person, and he needs to shut up. And frankly, he needs to go away.
Well,
because he's going to never underestimate the Republicans' ability to screw
it up.
These guys should be working together, and instead,
let me do a little background. The latest thing, and again, I mentioned this morning on the radio what I think needs to happen if you want the country to get back on track, we need a Democratic Senate, and a Republican Senate. Get rid of oh my God, a Republican-led Senate, at least by one. And the only way to get that is if Herschel Walker wins. And the only way to get Herschel Walker to win, the best way in me, would be to have Herschel Walker in the middle, Donald Trump holding one hand, and Kemp holding the other like this. V for victory. We need this for the good of America.
Work together.
And it's never going to happen unless Trump caves in. But here's what he just said. This was last night. Donald Trump released calling Ron DeSantis, again, he's not talking about Kemper, he's talking about Ron DeSantis, being an average governor playing games amid all the press for what he has done for midterm elections. Quote, News Corp, which is Fox, the Wall Street Journal, and no longer Great New York Post are all in on Governor Ron DeSanctimonious, an average Republican governor with great public relations. Trump attributed DeSantis' political success as governor to the weather. He has the advantage of sunshine, where people from badly run states up north could go no matter who the governor was, just like I did. Trump claimed that his endorsement of DeSantis won him the Florida gubernatorial election in 2018. Trump said DeSantis approached him in desperate shape while he was politically dead in 2017, asking for an endorsement. He had, quote, Ron DeSanctimonious is playing games by not answering questions about whether he will run for president in 2024. That's what started this. When they asked Governor DeSantis, you're being elected, but aren't you going to run for governor in 2 years? And he refused to talk about it. Trump says he should have said, hell no, I want Donald Trump to be my president, but he didn't. So DeSantis obviously is seen as the leading challenger. Trump says, quote, the fake news asks him if he's going to run if President Trump runs, and he says, I'm only focused on the governor's race. I'm not looking into the future. Well, in terms of loyalty and class, that's really not the right answer. That's exactly the right. Anyway, he goes on. The former president's statement comes on a night which was praising everything for what he's done. By the way, Trump warns that his supporters will again triumph over his critics just like they did before. Fox News fought me to the end until I won. They couldn't have been nicer or more supportive. The Journal loved low-energy Jeb Bush. And then finally falling in line with me after easily knocked them out one by one. We're exactly in the same position now. They'll keep coming after us, MAGA, but ultimately we will win, put America first, and make America great again. And he's also apparently threatening to release what he calls very negative information on Ron DeSantis and his wife. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's going to ruin everything. He's going to hand it. If Donald Trump keeps attacking Ron DeSantis, not only will it affect the Herschel Walker race, Republicans are going to say, oh, my God, we can't go through this.
We can't. But you know what? The only good thing is DeSantis stays out of this.
Yep.
Stays out of this. Let Trump run. He's more unpopular now than he was 2 years ago, and he lost 2 years ago. Yeah. So maybe if he loses for a third straight election, but then he's gone.
Then we've got another 4 years of a Democrat. If we can keep the Congress, that would help. But still, you're going to hand it to someone like Pete Buttigieg?
No, it's not going to be. I'm telling you,
California Governor Newsom,
or
who's the worst governor-run state in America.
It's Shapiro or Newsom, I think.
Shapiro, who even is?
They claim he's middle road Democrat. He's not. He's left wing Democrat. But compared to some others, he seems that way. He just won the Pennsylvania race, no problem, over a Trump-backed candidate. By the way,
his name came up a couple of years ago. They kind of floated as it was like a nobody who's somebody to look at because he doesn't offend people, so maybe he's like the Biden. He's not going to hurt anybody.
No,
he's a good guy.
He's actually. No, he's smarter than Biden, and that's not a good thing.
I mean, the PR for him is going to be, what the PR was for Joe Biden was, listen, he's a nice guy. He's not going to hurt anything. He's going to bring us back together, unify the party. Joe, you've known him for years. He's going to this guy in Pennsylvania. He leads the people. He's a nice man. He hasn't done or said anything stupid. He seems like a legitimate leader. People like him and so on. And that's the plan that they're going to do.
And here's the problem with Newsom. They don't need him. They don't need California. They're going to get California no matter who runs.
Yeah.
If Ronald McDonald ran, they're going to get California. But Shapiro brings an important swing state with him.
Yeah, but I don't. We'll say you could be right. I don't know. I don't. Yeah. Again, here's my situation, and I'll bet everybody listening or most listening who can vote in America right now are going to say the same thing. If Donald Trump announces, and he's going to probably announce Tuesday, I think they're saying the 15th he's going to announce, if Ron DeSantis eventually announces, and the two of them face off at each other in the Republican primary, who do you vote for?
I don't think that'll happen. I think DeSantis will stand aside and watch Trump either get elected again, which would be great, or watch Trump completely implode for the third straight election, and then everybody will be through with him at that point.
Well, what my fear is. And my guess is, if I had to guess, and I don't bet because I never win. My guess is that when Trump announces DeSantis isn't going to say anything other than, congratulations, you're running for president. And Kemp will say, he's running for president. Stay out of it. I think if Trump does run, I think DeSantis will not run. I think he'll stay out of it. I think it'd be stupid.
Doesn't.
Yeah. I don't think he'll
stay in
challenge
Florida for 2 more years and then wait and see what happens and then run in 4 years.
Yeah. And again, one of the reasons is I think if Trump and DeSantis were to try to face off each other in the primaries, it would just, how many Republicans would say, I just can't do this. They'll stay home.
Ted Kennedy, Jimmy Carter destroyed each other, and then Reagan swooped in and beat them.
I mean, it's just so I'm hoping if Trump announces, and I think he probably will, that DeSantis will not run. But now, do you think Donald Trump should come to Georgia and try to work something out with Kemp to be together for Herschel Walker? That's the other. Talk about political, and here's the theory was that I hadn't really thought of. Apparently, word I heard, and I think Flounder may have heard this on the morning radio show this morning.
It wasn't true.
It wasn't true. Okay.
Yeah.
What I heard was that Herschel Walker's people were told that Governor Kemp would be happy to campaign with him if he wanted him to. And the word I heard was that Herschel's people said, no, please don't, because it'll piss off Donald Trump. Now,
should we care what Donald Trump thinks about our election when it's our election?
I'm saying the word was that the campaign was afraid that it would affect the But again, see, here we
true.
go. Donald Trump as the divider.
Yeah, I know.
Even in state politics.
Not since Kennedy.
So we think that was not true?
Rhino had emailed Walker's party, and they confirmed that they would be happy to
I would have
work with Kemp.
I would have think. Yeah. Anyway, now, do you think Donald Trump is going to campaign before December 8th or whatever it is for Herschel Walker?
At this point, I think he'll cause more harm for Georgia than he would good.
Well, that's the other question. And what about Governor Kemp? Now, will he now? Again, I assume that his problem. Well, again, I'm saying he has a problem with Herschel Walker. I don't know if he has a problem with Herschel Walker
Kemp
or not.
needs to come out and tell his voters who voted for me but didn't vote for him in the last time, we need this man in there.
Right, and we'll talk about the Libertarian in a second. But again, I think Governor Kemp's probably his lack of enthusiastic support was about the issue of abortions and the women thing and the violence for the family.
Right.
So, and obviously, Governor Kemp being a pious, spiritual, well-known religious. Well, I think he's pretty well known as a pro-life guy, and he would have a little problem. So I can understand him, but he's got to put it aside. He's got to say, listen, we need to work. We need to be together on this.
Kimmer, they're Republicans.
I know.
They will screw it up.
Screw it up. God,
that's what they do.
I can't believe it.
They'd rather fight amongst each other and be, we're win Pyrrhic victories and be able to say, well, I was right all along, but you lost, but I was right all along,
I know.
rather than win the damn election.
And again, just another quick note, has the Libertarian announced his support for
Has he been run out
Herschel?
of the state yet on a rail?
Has he said anything to support the Republican candidate to
haven't
make
heard.
America better again? If the Libertarian candidate and Governor Kemp would both come say, people, this is, again, you don't maybe not understand how important this is. The decision probably the decision in the Georgia Senate race will make a difference in whether Democrats keep going like this for 2 more years, 6 more years, or at least 2 more years until 4 more years till the next election of the Senate. I mean, I can't believe it. We can stop him. Herschel Walker is maybe the only thing that can stop him. I mean, think about it. Georgia, once again, is responsible for the mess we're in. You lost 2 Republican Senate seats, or there should have been Republican Senate seats, so it's our fault. And now it's our fault again if we blow it this time. You're being called out. Make it right. Do the right thing. Suck it up. It's just good for. This is not a Herschel Walker thing. This is an American thing. This is the future of our country. Oh my God. I mean, please. Okay. And the Libertarian better get your act together, or you're going to be freaking responsible.
I really don't. I'm at the point now that they don't care if everything implodes, because they can sit back all sanctimoniously and say, well, we were right all along. But this isn't about right and wrong. This is about politics.
Yeah.
If you want to play politics, you got to get down in the gutter. Because if you want to win, it doesn't matter how you did it, because the Democrats prove that every day. The end justifies the means. It doesn't matter how you did it. If you get there and you're able to have the votes, you can change things. I don't give a damn if they cheat, lie, and steal to get this seat.
We have seen, as I've said many times, I'll say it again, we need to do whatever it takes. And like the Democrats proved, the end justifies the means. The phony Russian collusion, the phony Russian hooker with the peeing in the bed. I mean, everything they did for the last 5 years, 7 years, has been as the most vicious, hate-filled, even using the collusion of the FBI and the Justice Department to fake evidence to get an impeachment and basically performing a coup with the FBI's help. Again, so they'll do anything. So and again, if Republicans take control of the Congress, I don't want to hear any of this. Now, finally, it's time for us to work together across the aisle to show that we are bull crap. You can eat me. Nail them. Smother them politically.
Neck.
I mean it. We need to
Hobnail
make them
boot.
suffer.
Put a hobnail boot on their face.
Oh, you Herschel. Larry Munson, hobnail
Sugar
boot.
falling from the sky.
I love it. Let's see, a couple things. Oh, did you hear? Well, I don't care about Swalwell. I was going to mention that. The storm in Florida. Did you mention that?
No, I miss Larry.
Oh, well,
I miss
I'll
Larry
mention
Munson.
one quick thing with Swalwell. Talk about an idiot. Eric Swalwell is the guy who was seduced by the Chinese hooker, the honey trap of the spy for China. Allegedly my ass. He was sleeping with her. And now he's being blasted because he reacted to Senator Tim Scott, the black congressman senator from South Carolina, who was saying that Tim Scott said, we're finally putting parents back in charge of the kids' education. That's what I was going to say when Flounder mentioned that we do have some successes. We have a lot of success at local school boards. Thousands of apparently people voted for Republican school boards to get rid of all those liberals with their CRT and the gender things. Good. School boards, I've read some article, overwhelming support of parents getting back in control. In fact, Tim Scott was responding to was saying, we're finally putting parents back in charge of their kids' education. So Eric Swalwell comes out with this, quote, please tell me what I'm missing here. What are we doing next? Putting parents in charge of their own surgeries? Clients in charge of their own trials? When did we stop trusting experts? This is so stupid.
They're credentialed.
Yeah, they're teachers. They're experts.
We have to believe that they're credentialed.
Yeah. Well, people are saying, for example, well, golly, we stopped trusting experts when they locked our kids out of classrooms, tried to force feed them propaganda, proved that their political agendas were more important than our kids' well-being. That's when the parents defending education. That's when we stop trusting experts. Another, this might be the most asinine comparison and general view of a parent's role in their kids' education I've ever seen or seen publicly stated. As a mother, I'm the expert of my kids.
Right. Thank you.
Parents can choose the medical procedures their child will undergo and which doctors will perform it. Clients choose which lawyer will represent them, whether they will go to trial, and so on and so forth. This is a perfect example, one for why my parents should choose schools, teachers, and even curriculum. Clients get to choose their attorneys to go tell their attorneys what to do. So yeah, it's exactly like that. We should be able to tell.
He's such an idiot.
I mean, how dumb can you be? Well, that dumb, I guess. I mean, it's just
Parents Taking Back the School Boards, brought to you by FarmhousePrintingCo.com. And, you know, if you've been listening to this show, how long have they been with us?
Oh,
years.
A couple of years, yeah.
It's
In
amazing.
fact, I heard from Eric this morning, a Semper Fi vet guy, just the nicest man, and he's got some surprise coming.
That's right. Guess what? Right now
Yeah.
is the time to place your order for company holiday gifts, personal Christmas gifts, and anything else you want. If you place your order, this is amazing. If you place your order between now and Thanksgiving, which is what, a couple weeks?
Yeah.
Couple weeks? Tell them you heard this on the Kimmer podcast, and you get 10% off your custom order, which covers like shirts, hats, tumblers, custom printing, or laser engraving.
Yeah.
No minimum, no limits. 10% off if you mention the Kimmer podcast is where you heard this.
Outstanding.
FarmhousePrintingCo.com. They do everything. They've been doing our stuff. The Kimmer Show, Holy Crap at Sports, Shannon Burke, anything.
T-shirts, Kimmer Babe shirts. I mean, believe me, if you have a
Family.
picture of something you want, they can put it on whatever you want, basically almost anything.
It's great for Thanksgiving. It's great for Christmas. But right now, mention
Christmas
the Kimmer Show,
Yeah.
and you get 10% off.
Outstanding. Well done. You know, I was looking, I'd almost really not realized that there was another hurricane coming into Florida until it hit. For some reason, I don't know why I ignored.
Well, the election was.
I mean, I guess that was right. But again, I saw the video. Homes washed away on the coast.
Yeah, my friend actually has a place in Daytona, and he was sending video to our text thread, and there's no beach.
Yeah, it's gone.
And I was there
houses-
3 months ago, and there was 50 yards of beach.
And I'll tell you, the one thing I'm amazed by this, and again, with the modern technology, you got to love it for this part. They had drones showing houses washed into the sea. And buildings washed into the ocean. Yeah, into the Atlantic Ocean.
And that was just a Hurricane 1.
Yeah. You could see the building. There's video. The buildings crumbling and power lines that just fly right down. They're gone.
Well, that's what hurricanes
Drones
do.
carry
Hurricanes change shorelines. That's what they do.
They did that with my folks had a place in Bonita Springs on the west part of Florida, the shelling capital of the world. My mom would go out shelling at 5 o'clock every morning. When we visit, we'd go do the same thing. And had the storm came through, and it changed the whole. It eliminated the shelling because it made 2 different beaches, and it was never the same from the storm. But again, this happened, and I find it hard to believe it happened. We used to make fun of Larry Wax on the radio show. He would end his radio broadcast every morning. He would say, "Don't forget, don't step on down power lines." Right? Every day.
He
we
still
laugh at
does. He still does it on Twitter.
On Twitter. Yeah, don't step on downed power lines. Duh. But son of a gun, a guy got out of his vehicle in Central Florida. This was in Central Florida with tropical storm. It was a tropical storm. Yesterday, guy got out of his car and touched a power line, and the woman he was traveling with was also electrocuted. They both died. He came in why you come in contact with a downed power line? It was at 9:30 in the morning, and someone said, "There's a guy in the street," and the woman with him was all. And now I don't know whether the shock went. If you touch a guy when the power's is being electrocuted, you'll be electrocuted too, isn't that right? Now, if you take a board or a rubber something to try to, I'm not even sure what the best way is to try to stop somebody if he's on a
Get a running
line.
start. And then, well, here's the thing: if it falls in your car, you can't get out of your
Don't get
car.
out. Your tires save you.
Now, I think if
right?
the tires say. I think if you jump away from the car, you might be okay, but that's taking a chance.
If you don't touch anything while you're trying to go out the window, yeah.
Or it arcs toward you.
Yeah.
You know.
But again, I wouldn't even want to open the door because of the metal. I don't know.
You're safe in the car, but
I
once
think
you
you're
step
safe in
out,
the car, but I wouldn't touch anything, and I don't know whether I'd try to use my phone to call for help either.
Oh yeah, you can call. Come on.
Oh, you know that, do you? You sound very sure about that, sir.
I don't. But
Now, wait a minute. But doesn't a phone get electronic signals and stuff? Wouldn't lightning come in the phone?
No, it's magic.
I mean, the power
it
line?
runs on magic. It doesn't run on electric.
Now, thank God, because I was afraid there was some kind of science to it, If it's magic, I don't get it. What do I care? It doesn't make any difference whether I care about it or not. Anyway, one more quickie thing in the news. I just think that, I don't know why I think this is hysterical and hideous and horrible at the same time. Alex Jones, the former talk show host from Texas, right? Was he a Texas guy, friend of Shannon Burke's?
I think so.
Anyway, Alex Jones just got hit with another $473 million fine in damages for the Sandy Hook story. Where he went on his thing and said it was all a bunch of crap. It was a lie. There was no Sandy Hook Elementary School. Well, I mean, it was stupid, obviously. Let's see if I get things. He told millions of his listeners on his show the shooting was a hoax. The victims were actors hired as part of a scheme to get more gun controls in place. So people sued him. Parents and siblings that gave tearful testimony during the month-long trial that just ended, saying they were subjected to harassment and abuse from his followers who believed the lies. Jones testified during his trial, there had been like 3 of them now, admitted the shooting happened, but he remained combative, referred to the ordeal as a kangaroo court, called the judge a tyrant, and now he got ordered to pay another $473 million for spreading lies. He's already been ordered by a jury in October to pay the families of the victims and an FBI agent nearly $1 billion. So he now owes $1.4 billion. Now, let me ask you, which is obviously ridiculous, but let me ask you this. Because a radio announcer made a ridiculous comment on the air about a thing that happened.
I thought he was a podcaster. He's on the radio?
I think he was on the radio.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think he's doing podcasts now, but he was. I thought he was on.
He
radio.
had a radio gig, and we don't.
Yeah. No, I think he no longer is, but he. Let's see.
Radio let him on.
Tracked the punitive damage to what Jones and free speech systems owed after telling millions of listeners on his show. Now, maybe this is all the podcast stuff, but even so, how is it possible that because a guy on a podcast or the radio says something offensive, you can sue for $1 billion? Wait a minute.
I don't know.
How is that? How is that possible? They showed that they suffered from damages because they were attacked or harassed, and therefore has to pay a $1.4 billion for hurting their feelings.
Well, he was spewing misinformation.
But that's still, it's not like he poked him in the eye and they had to get surgery and pay for it with a doctor.
I wonder if it has anything to do because it was a school shooting for kids. Again,
but
it's still.
But where's the law that says you can't be an idiot?
Right. I don't know how this. I don't understand what the. Unless it was they could somehow show that because of what he said, it led to them having
mental anguish or something.
But still, the bottom line is he said something on the air that offended people, and it cost him $1.4 billion.
There may be more to it.
I mean, wow. I mean, I'm trying to think of all this shit that I've said over the last 56 years. Anyway, all right, so much for that. I thought that was amusing.
That's why we have the word allegedly.
Allegedly. A couple things, just very, very quickly. I wanted to pass this along. I'm a big fan of Professor Alan Dershowitz. He's a screaming liberal, but he's a realist. He supported Donald Trump. He supported anti-FBI things. I mean, the man believes in law and order.
He got canceled because he was a Trump supporter.
Yeah, but he's a screaming liberal, but he's a good legal mind. Well. Remember the Jeffrey Epstein accuser and victim, Virginia Giuffre, that cute little blonde who was in the picture of Prince Andrew holding with his arm around her, and then she was like the original whistleblower about Jeffrey Epstein, who therefore then got arrested, went to the whole thing. Her name was Virginia Giuffre, the original little blonde girl who's now well grown up. She now has maintained for years that one of the people who went to Herpes Island down there with their Dershowitz thing was Alan Dershowitz, and that he was also having sex with these underage girls down at Herpes Island. Well, now Miss Virginia Giuffre has settled a defamation lawsuit that he filed against her. And she settled it this week and said, she might have made a mistake in accusing Ellen Dershowitz. Yeah, it might have been a mistake. It could have been wrong. Could have been a different, kind of a. Anyway. Still. Elon Musk has told his people, you're coming back to work, or I will assume if you don't show up, you just resigned.
Good.
If you don't come back to the office for at least 40 hours a week, you are therefore have quit your job. Good.
Biden. Some reporter asked Biden if there's ways to investigate Musk's offshore stuff to get. And Biden said, "Oh yeah, there's lots of things
needs to be investigated." Yeah, they're going to have the FTC is now investigating because of his links in money coming in from Saudi Arabia.
I'm telling you.
And so Biden says, "Yeah, we need to investigate him. Federal investigation, Federal Trade Commission."
Put Elon Musk in front of a hearing; he'll destroy them.
Please God. Two more quick things. I don't quite understand this. The Attorney General for the District of Columbia is filing a multi-million-dollar civil suit consumer protection lawsuit against the Washington Redskins Commanders football team and owner Dan Snyder and the NFL and Roger Goodell. Here's the complaint. I've never heard of such a thing. The Attorney General, Carl Racine, says that Goodell and Snyder and the team colluded to deceive D.C. residents about the investigations into the organization's workplace culture, all the slimy workplace misconduct, and if the Attorney General claims if the public knew this was such a sleazy organization, they never would have paid all this money for tickets. Yeah. In other words, there would have been a lesser organization in their mind, and they would have been able to pay less money because the team wouldn't have been able to charge them all these tickets. Therefore, by keeping secret all the sleaziness in the organization, they cheated the public out of money.
Good.
Charging too much for what they should be worth.
For once, I agree with the Democrat Attorney General.
But can you
go after Goodell?
Well, you can go after every organization in America that you believe has not acted properly.
Well, this one, they actually have women who have come out and said they were sexually assaulted and harassed.
The Attorney General is suing the football team for being worthless.
For lying about it. And he thinks Goodell and the NFL lied about it and covered it up. Because remember, they had like 600,000 emails, and the only person who took the fall was John Gruden.
Yeah, John Gruden.
Who wasn't even there.
Yeah. Again, I've never heard of this happening before, so this could lead to all kinds of stuff.
Good for him.
And one more thing about the Paul Pelosi business. The guy who attacked him with a hammer has been indicted on a federal charge. But here's my question. Remember that a couple times ago we talked about how the police originally said when it happened that the door was open instead of saying who opened the door. And that the story came out by the NBC reporter, Amagair, whatever his name is, very well-known reporter, respected reporter. He came out with a story a couple days ago that said that the police department, official documents and witnesses have said that when they came to the door, Paul Pelosi opened the door, and instead of running outside to the police or saying, "Help me, thank God you're here," he opened the door, went back about 10 feet to the guy with a hammer. Yeah. And that's when they started struggling for the hammer. Now, that doesn't make any sense to me, for one thing. But again, that's what they said. The reason that report came out was because Nancy Pelosi... Well, okay, first of all, they have now deleted that report. You can't find it.
They did it immediately.
They did it immediately. And the reason they did it, the reason the report came out was because Nancy Pelosi publicly complained that the police didn't do enough to save her husband. And when the police detectives who were there said, "Wait a minute, we weren't the ones who, he's the one." That's why some cop said, "Oh, this is bullshit. Let me put you on. I'll give you the story." The truth of it, Almaguer, was that he opened the door and went back to the guy. And we're saying, no, we can take care of you. But he went back to the guy, and that's when he had the problem. So the cop was defending the police activity because Nancy Pelosi slammed the cops. Typical liberal Democrat, blame it on the police. And this cop finally said, no, that's not what happened. But because they came out publicly with it, obviously Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats called NBC and said, "You better get that thing off the air right now," because it makes the police look bad. It makes Nancy Pelosi look bad.
Paul was, I got him later, he said, "I need the cops here like I need a hole in the head."
Well, there you are. But again, I mean, the nerve of and NBC killed it because it made the Democrats, it made Nancy Pelosi's husband look like an idiot. And now I'm wondering whether he was in his underpants and whether he was a friend of his that they've been having sex before.
Captain Underpants.
I mean, I'm serious. Yeah. I mean, why not?
Well, they pretty much proven the transcripts say, if they didn't change the transcripts, the transcripts allegedly say that Paul Pelosi never said that he's a friend. It was the guy, the crazy man, who said, I'm a friend.
Yeah, the Paul Pelosi was saying, this guy came in here and he's got a hammer and he's a friend. He didn't say that. The guy came in here and he said he wants to see Nancy and he's a friend. So he was quoting the guy saying, I want to see Nancy.
I think it was the guy in the background saying, I'm a friend.
No, I think it was, either way.
And of course, who knows if you can believe a transcript.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we haven't seen the video, which they can change video too, but we haven't seen any video.
We haven't seen any of the police video. The biggest bitch first lady America's ever had, Michelle Putty Tat Obama, has come out with another book to make her another $100 million. This one's called Why I've Always Hated America. And she actually has the balls. Here's Michelle Obama.
Literally.
The most entitled, selfish, snotty, mean-spirited, vicious, attacking first lady we've ever had. What she did to Melania Trump, the way she treated her before and after, I mean, this woman is a snake. Entitled, they would bring, like 30 of her relatives on their Hawaiian vacations, paid by the taxpayer. They moved their grandmother and stuff into the White House to take care of her. I mean, that's nice, but I mean, still. Anyway, Michelle Putty Tat, or Michael Putty Tat, said that she's written another book now called I Hate America and Always Have. She said she struggled with a crushing sense of hopelessness after the 2020 election, brought about by the death and isolation of the COVID pandemic. A summer of political and racial unrest and the insurrection at the Capitol. I was in such a low place. But she steadies herself during these anxious times. She tells how she does it, overcoming her lifelong fear of change. I say things to myself to pick myself up. It's how I stay visible in a world that doesn't necessarily see a tall black woman. Oh, I hate you so much, you sniveling little liar. Sniveling big liar. And she's going to make another $100 million. It'll be another bestseller. Oh, little kitty's got...
He's eating your cap.
He likes my new Marine Corps hat from Judy. Hi, kitty. He's a good boy. I love having cats around. Almost out of time. I mentioned, here's the sports section. I mentioned you've already done your sports thing for today. The art house theater known as Terra Cinema is gone.
LaFont Terra, yeah.
It's closing after more than 50 years. The theater owner Regal Cinema released a statement saying they were closing it after 54 years, citing, quote, an unspecified real estate optimization strategy.
Condos.
Cheshire Bridge Road near I-85 is going dark. Obviously, they're going to sell it and make millions of dollars for the property.
The keystones. From one end of Cheshire Bridge, you had the Terra and Varsity Junior. Now they're both gone. Yeah. The other end, you had Rhodes Bakery, and around the corner, Tattletales. Well, the only thing left now is Tattletales, which is kind of.
And they've been trying to get rid of them for a long time.
And that was the first one I ever went into back in the 80s, the early 80s. First one I'd ever.
I don't know if I've been to that.
That's the one my thumb still hurts because I beat up that guy in the parking lot.
Oh, that's right. I was making fun of your girlfriend.
Well, he reached out and pinched her.
Yeah, that's no good.
And
the cop was there and they said, "Do you want to do anything?" And the cop let you beat him up, basically.
Watch me beat the hell out of him. Then he ran off, and the cop went and got him and brought him back. The guy didn't have a shirt on. I took his shirt off. But what was it? Oh, when we were kids, coming in from Gwinnett, that was to impress a date to go to Terra. And that was the danger when we were in high school. Midnight movies where you went, we thought that was downtown.
Yeah.
And then if you really got crazy, it was
exciting, scary.
You went to the Silver Screen down at Peachtree Battle because that's where the Rocky Horror real diehards were at.
Yeah.
That was when you went, but to us, that was like urban camping to go down there. So this is a big part of my childhood, the Terra.
Well, a guy named David Patton, an old Fourth Ward real estate consultant attorney, was a regular patron since he was at Emory in 1984. He said his most notable memory is having a T-shirt signed by Spike Lee who came to promote his breakthrough film She's Gotta Have It in 1986. He said, my friend and I would go to Church's Chicken across the way, put it in a giant purse. We'd eat chicken and drink beer in the back of the Terra.
They had the old seats that were plastic with stars on it, like the 1950s. Did you ever go there?
I never was in the Terra Cinema.
It
I
was
never
like
went
going
to
back
it.
into the 1950s.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. Burt Reynolds hosted the premiere of Smokey and the Bandit there at Terra. The same year was the first in Atlanta to show Star Wars in 1977. In 1980, cinema owner George LaFont bought the theater and made it X-rated historical drama Caligula. Then he sold it 10 years later. Midtown Arts Cinema and the Plaza Theater are the only art house theaters left.
They have to
go.
save the Plaza because we lost Plaza Drugs. They have to save the Plaza.
Yeah.
That is a Atlanta landmark. They
54
cannot let
years.
that go.
And
But
again,
that-
it's money. The land's worth too much. They're gonna. Well, when we bought our house in Brookhaven, we bought the little Cracker Barrel house for an atrocious amount of money, and then tore it down and built another one on the lot. And the banker said you can have as much money as you want because it's a gold mine there, and he could prove it because when I showed pictures, I sent pictures to my family after we built our the Kimmer's mansion, and my first comment my father said was, "Boy, those houses are awful close together because they're like 10 feet apart, and playing all those expensive neighborhoods because the land's $2 million an acre these days."
Let me congratulate you because you've done a really good job so far. We're 2 hours in, and you finally turned the story around to you.
I was trying to hold off.
Immediately. I'm saying that's a hard one to take the LaFont Terra closing and make it a story about you in Brookhaven.
Well, I believe there was a story about you right before that and your experiences.
Okay, by the way, next week I'm going to do a whole thing, a part of my show, talking about what the Terra meant to us when growing
Really?
up here in
Cool.
Atlanta, because that was a special place, and
Yeah.
it's a
Cool.
shame that I didn't.
I'll look forward to it.
That we
We'll
don't
do it
have
on our show too.
We should have had more warning because I would have gone down for one more movie. The last time I went was about 12, 13 years ago. I saw a movie about Genghis Khan there.
Wow.
But I walked out of two movies. I only walked out in two movies my entire life, and they were both at the Terrace. Eraserhead and Kagamusha.
I walked out of the one with my kids when they were young about the dog, Skippy or something, and
My dog Skip.
It was a horrible, abusive.
Oh, that was a great movie. It's just sad.
There was some movie about it. It was just horrible, and I finally left. A couple of quick birthdays, if you don't mind. Stanley Tucci, good actor. I really like his. He's a great actor.
Netflix.
62.
Netflix, Inside Man, right now. Him
heard
and
of it.
David Tennant. It just came out, and it's amazing.
Is that like the movie was Inside Man with?
No, this
what's
is
his
totally
name?
different.
The banker thing.
This is Stanley Tucci is a convicted murderer who killed his wife and mutilated her. But he's a criminologist.
Is it a series?
Well, it's a 4-part series
okay.
right now, but it's so good they hopefully will do a second season.
He's a criminologist.
He's
who
on
murdered
death
his
row.
wife?
He's on death row in Arizona, and this British girl comes to report, interview him,
right.
and while she's there, her friend disappears back in England, and he takes the case. And basically, people would come in, and the warden would allow him to take people's cases and help them out.
It's like the
so,
Birdman
So
about
it's
the
half
ball.
of it's in England, half of it's in Arizona, and it's all tied together. It's Tucci is amazing.
He's a great actor. Everything he's been in, I've always admired.
David Tennant too.
Demi Moore. By the way, when did it become Demi? It was always Demi Moore. Now it's Demi. Anyway, she is 60. Demi
She
Moore
kinda
is
went off-
60.
When
One-
she showed us her tits, I think she
Well,
became.
that and when her and Ashton's Kutcher split up, she kind of went off the deep end. She went kind of a little crazy.
Well,
She knew it was
I
over.
don't know.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Plus, she got dumped for a younger chick.
Callista Flockhart. What's her name? The girl lawyer thing.
married to
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
By the way, Cindy
58.
says, because you managed to turn the story back around to you, my day is now complete.
Oh, thank you. She had the over-under on Friday.
She also had the over-under about you doing the heart attack story.
Well,
too.
I had to tell the story.
Hey, once a year you
It's
get
my
to tell that
anniversary.
story. That's right. You
It's
get
my
to tell-
anniversary heart
once a
attack
year you
story.
get to tell
I'm trying to help the men who might be feeling like
true.
this. And anyway, Leonardo DiCaprio is 48 today. Mark Sanchez, butt-fumbling quarterback, Bears backup now on ESPN, is 36 years old today. Mark Sanchez. That's still a funny video. And Fuzzy Zeller, 71. I don't even, whatever it is, I guess we'll serve whatever it is those guys eat. When he, for the Masters ceremony on what Tiger Woods was going to serve for the Masters dinner the next year, and Fuzzy Zeller said, well, I don't know, whatever it is those guys eat, I guess. And then he got blasted for being a redneck Southern
He ain't
racist.
Southern.
Huh?
Is he Fuzzy Zeller?
Yeah, he's from South Carolina or
Is he?
someplace. Yeah.
Idiot. Did you see the Falcons game last? No, you didn't.
No,
You don't
I
have
didn't.
Amazon.
I refuse to. I'm not even going to try to watch Thursday Night Football.
So
If it's
you
not on
didn't-
TV. Screw them.
You didn't see Marcus Mariota's butt fumble moment?
No, I know they lost the game, but what happened now?
This guy. He's basically running away.
Up under center?
No. He's running away.
Yeah.
And someone comes for him, and he trips, and he's falling down, and he literally falls on his back. He's laying on his back on the field. He's down, and he throws the ball up downfield. It's one of the
that's
everybody
not-
was going, this is one of the stupidest, most embarrassing things we've ever seen a quarterback do. It is
a
time
free
to
ball.
sit his ass down and play Desmond Ritter. Sherman, what's his face? Sherman used to be the Seattle linebacker. What the hell's his name? Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman.
Very outspoken. Said it was a rookie type thing. It was embarrassing, but it just blasted him at halftime and after the game, saying, "Where's Desmond Ritter?"
By the way, he was great when I saw him in preseason.
Yes.
He looked pretty damn.
This Mariota's not taking us anywhere. Please, this is a waste of time.
What are we 3-6 now?
Or 4-6. Even if they make the playoffs, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Please, let's
Get him in there. Get him used to playing. A couple of historical things. 1921, President Warren G. Harding dedicates a white marble sarcophagus in Arlington National Cemetery with the inscription, "Here rests in honored glory an American soldier known but to God." Vietnam vet was added to the Tomb of the Unknown in the 1980s, and now, of course, we know who he is. It wasn't until 1954 that Veterans Day was declared a national celebration, so that was part of it with the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. 1987, Vincent van Gogh's painting Irises sells at Sotheby's auction house for a world record price of a work of art, $49 million. 1928, highways get numbers on this day in 1926, I'm sorry. The system decides odd-numbered highways will run north and south. Even numbers will go east and west, like I-10 goes east and west and 75 north and south. The lowest odd numbers are in the west, the higher odd numbers in the east. The lowest even highway numbers are in the south, the higher numbers are in the north. Started on this day, 1926. 1938, Typhoid Mary died. She was an Irish-born cook, Mary Mallon, blamed for spreading typhoid to dozens of people, killing several. She was kept in quarantine at North Brother Island Prison in New York's East River. She was in quarantine for 27 years.
That's amazing.
She was 69 when she died. 1938 on this day.
I thought they let her out.
No, now they may have let her out finally, but she was in quarantine for 27 years.
Poor woman.
1938, I forgot to ask Flounder to get this song. I was going to play it to do a thing, and I should have because it's Veterans Day. Irving Berlin's Song of Peace was heard for the first time on this day in 1938. It was called God Bless America. Kate Smith sang it on her network radio show. All the royalties went to the Boy and Girl Scouts of America. Kate Smith, with those arms holding up and the giant arm hangers, but she was something. Kate Smith.
Of course, they quit playing her at Flyers games because someone said she was racist or something.
Yeah, well, she made one comment about something or other. She's not exactly a big sport of eugenics, I don't think, but who knows. 1942, Congress lowered the age to be drafted from 21 to 18. And in 1981, here's what Flounders Guy wrote on this day, history in 1981. Dodgers pitcher Fernando Pinchi Valenzuela became the first chubby player to win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young Award in the same season. He's Hispanic, unquote. This guy who does
And he wasn't 20 years old.
No, he was like 30. He was at least 6 or 8 years older than what he said he was. But he still, he was a kid when he came up anyway, no matter what. And has anyone ever done that since? I don't think anyone's ever done it. Both Rookie of the Year and Cy Young or whatever. Anyway. Boys, what else is going on here?
I'm not going to do the review because if you want to hear my review of the Black Panther, I did it on my show. I'll just say I gave it a B-, and it's okay.
Let's Monday give us a little on what the crowd was like, what the audience was like. if you doing
I was fine. I went in there. There's about 20 of us because I went to the 3.
So
no one knew
white
it was
guys?
even out.
Nobody booed you.
There was white people there. It was no big deal. No one cared
But
about
it wasn't.
that.
The reason you mentioned it was because somebody said you white people should stay away from the opening, so we black people can go see Black Thunder.
It was all
or
over
whatever.
Twitter and stuff like that. No one cares.
But it was
and everything.
stupid. But now, but you enjoy. Was it worth going?
Yeah, first they had to deal with Chadwick Boseman dying. I mean, the main character.
Did they come up with a way to explain it?
Well, basically they said he died. Well, okay. If you're listening, this is maybe spoiling, so you might want to say goodnight, Gracie, right now.
Okay.
So you've been warned. They basically said he died the way he died in life. He came up with a disease, and they couldn't save him. That's basically how they do a great job dealing with that at the very beginning of the movie, and at the very end of the movie, they do a great job dealing a tribute to him, basically, in the movie, which I thought was cool.
Right. But as a movie, as a plot, was it held up to the first one? Or?
It brought up their version of Aquaman. Frankly, he kind of pales in comparison to the DC Aquaman, one of the few times this has happened. But he's an interesting character, and he's not the first Hispanic or one of the big Hispanic superheroes because he's not Hispanic. He's the Conquistador. In fact, he kills every Spaniard he sees.
Oh, boy.
But anyway, it's Namor the Submariner, which we've all been waiting for years and years and years, and now he's here. And they played him pretty like he was in the comics. That most of the time he's a villain.
Yeah.
He's an asshole. Basically, is what he is. Every once in a while he'd do right by helping us against the Nazis. But that was cool. It's kind of a hot mess at times. Once again, a lot of it's too dark.
Yeah.
It's way
Why
filmed
do they do
much
that?
too
Just
dark.
Use the beauty of it.
You don't have to do everything at night. It doesn't have to be dark.
Can you hear the dialogue?
There's a few times their accents. The accents are so thick you can't. But it's very few. Very few.
Yeah.
So you watch at home, you got to turn the brightness up and hit the closed caption on, but just a few times.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a lot of action. Some of it cool. It's not great.
You're a little disappointed, I'm guessing?
A little.
You were hoping it was better?
I was hoping it was a better, even though they dealt with his death so well, it makes up for the
But would you
rest of
recommend it to people if they
Oh
want to go
yeah,
see
if
a
you want
movie?
to go
It's
see
a good movie?
you got to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You have to have seen the first one,
okay.
to care about this.
Well,
But
that's a good review.
Here's the I show up at the I won't say where it was, and I'm walking up to the door, and the door opens up. There's a clown standing there.
Oh, no.
There's a clown.
No.
Oh, have you ever had a clown open the door?
No. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a nice jester.
Hey. You know, I played a clown in the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus.
Oh, God, the clown story. Cindy, this is the trifecta.
I'm not going to tell you. No,
It
scared my daughter Jennifer, but that's a whole other story.
Scared the hell out of all of
Do
us.
we have time for a rainy day?
Bad texting theater.
Is it time for a bad
Or I mean, a rainy bad.
And by the way,
texting
next
rainy
week we're going to start talking about Thanksgiving, and you got to give your recipe.
Okay, excellent.
All right, bad text theater. We know which one we got here.
I think it's the girlfriend and the boyfriend are having a fight. It's right under the picture you sent me at the Variety.
Maybe we should do the one I just sent you yesterday. That's between Fetterman and Biden.
Okay, yeah.
That's more in the news.
Okay, yeah.
Are you Fetterman or are you Biden? These two having a conversation.
There's some great memes going around about these two guys together.
I'll be Biden.
You'll be Biden. All right, I'll
It's a
start.
no-brainer.
I'm Fetterlump. Shababa Daba Goobjiner.
Chicken bike, corn missile dog.
I saw that one.
Chicken bike, corn missile
They
dog.
elected the guy who can't speak. I mean,
Neither one.
It doesn't matter who the candidate
And
is.
they're pushing him to run for president.
president.
Yeah,
Ladies and
Peppermint
gentlemen,
Patty was talking
President
about that
of
on
the
MSNBC yesterday.
All right, boys. Weekend plans. Of course, it's gonna be crappy weather. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cold. Going to freezing for the weekend. Again, I'll be at Marietta Square early in the morning for the charity race.
Freezing your ass.
Freezing my balls off. And football weekend.
Oh, yeah. Once again, it's a big photo. You got Alabama, Ole Miss. You got Georgia.
Who's Georgia playing?
Mississippi State. They're in Starkville.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun.
In fact, I had a lot of people writing me saying, what's there to do in Starkville? Folks, I've never been to Starkville in my life, and I never will ever be in Starkville.
Yeah,
I have no clue what those
idea.
poor people do there.
Go get something to eat and have a couple
I
of beers.
just know
and
it's
go to the
not
game.
it's not Oxford.
Yeah, there's probably a strip joint somewhere.
Hey, Bill, look at the pores over there.
Isn't that where they have the penitentiary where they kill people? This is Starkville, Mississippi, where
Not
they
in
have the
Starkville.
electric.
No,
Huh?
the penitentiary I think is somewhere else. In
Oh,
the city.
it's Starkville, Florida, I think,
it?
or Stark. Yeah, there's a
'Cause
Starkville that kills people
in
in a
Texas,
penitentiary.
it's Huntsville. Remember,
Yeah,
Huntsville's
yeah,
the big
that's
one in
right.
Texas.
All right, Flounder, hi to the
oh,
family.
Lucas
Dad,
is a-
separate 5-year-old man.
I'm going to hang out with him Sunday.
Lucas is asleep
And
over
Lucas
there.
is up on top of the couch. All is well. All right, boys and girls. Have a great one.
He was a nice jester.
God bless America. Hoorah, Semper Fi. Oh, God bless you.
Denise,
That's
Judy,
Patricia from Canada, and Judy with the cover
Yes,
and the food
thank
and
you.
everything. God bless you, and Denise with the scrub brush and your Christmas
and
gifts.
my popular mechanics.
Anyway, all right. God bless you. Thank you so much. Hoorah.